After a long regular season and the play-ins to get to this point, we finally have reached the conference championships, which will secure our first 5 teams into the playoffs for the varsity premier portion of the NACE Star League. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash, as always. And I hope you have enjoyed yourself a nice little break from the Wednesday we were last here. But we've got Wichita State and St. Clair up first. That's our first matchup of the night, which will then lead into Northwood versus Baldwin Wallace here shortly after the fact. So, Cash, how are you doing on this beautiful night?
Yeah, I'm excited to get things going. It was just a few short days from our Wednesday broadcast. I'm excited to dive right back into not only just this conference action, but getting closer and closer to playoffs. And obviously, as you were kind of shaping up, tonight's matches have a lot as far as securing playoff spots goes and having to fight through LCQ.
Yeah, absolutely. As mentioned just beforehand, though, St. Clair, Wichita State is our first match. Again, this is to qualify into the playoffs. Conference championships aren't technically playoffs, although it does feel like a playoff scenario where the loser will be joining the rest of the teams in the LCQ to fight for the death and, of course, to get an oh-so-coveted playoff spot. Northwood versus Baldwin Wallace will be our second matchup later on in the night. I know a lot of people have been waiting for Northwood to finally get on to the broadcast, so that'll be our first glimpse of that team in the NACE Star League here tonight. But just talking about these teams in general, we actually just saw this match about, I don't know, a week and some change ago, where St. Clair was able to take the victory over Wichita State. But we'll talk about the rosters here in just a second. For St. Clair, no surprise here, coming back with the same roster as from beforehand. Relays, Priestley, Brandon, as well as Blaze. And then on the opposite side of things, Jake, Class, Frenzy, and Peach. Cash, this is going to be a rematch here where Wichita State are really trying to prove themselves and bounce back from a hard loss.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, they come off a good Game 5 win last week against OTSU to get to this conference championship setting. And as you said, it was a tough loss against St. Clair the last time they played, but they handed St. Clair their only map loss of the season thus far. So, again, a lot of good momentum they should be riding coming into tonight, but they definitely know what they have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just talking about a few of the players for St. Clair, throughout the whole season, Priestley's been on a mission. He wants it, and he's fueled up the rest of this team for a playoff tear throughout not only the remainder of this year, but in kind of the last hoorah for himself going forward. This is the make it or break it portion for St. Clair. I think it starts here with a good bounce back in that search and destroy mode against Wichita State, because the one thing that we kind of, had this whole thing riding upon was like, okay, well, the last time they played, as you mentioned, Wichita State, only team to take a map off of St. Clair this season. That's going to be kind of where we set up shop for the entire series as a whole, because when we check out the maps here in just a moment, you'll see that map too, exact rematch of what we saw in the previous series.
Yeah, it's going to be a hotel search and destroy, which is, as you said, circle it, put a cross through it, whatever you want to say. This is going to be one where I think intentionally left in the series. I think St. Clair most definitely want to square up on this match again, knowing where they went wrong. I mean, getting to talk to them after the series and just say they let that one get away from them, and it was just sloppy play out of them. I'm excited to see what they bring here. Can Wichita State stand strong again, not only in this map 2 search, but obviously if they want a chance at taking the series, they're gonna have to play strong throughout it. And you kind of talked about those St. Clair players, just to switch and talk about the side for Wichita State. When all 4 players for this team are working together, working as one, I mean, it sounds a little shocking, but it's no wonder they took a map off of St. Clair, and I mean that in the most optimistic way possible. The statement shouldn't sound as shocking as it's going to, perhaps, but realistically, Wichita State do have a chance to take this series off of St. Clair, and I think if they can extend the series, look to push it the distance, get closer to that Game 5, I mean, just trusting their search alone is something where you can definitely look to favor them later on.
Yeah, and if you look back to the previous series with Wichita State last week, on Wednesday against OTSU, they looked better in their hard point mode than we had seen them previous. I think namely back to that ice up match in map 4 on the Fortress, where they were just barely able to squeak out a win versus this OTSU roster. And that was kind of the turning point, I think, in the way that they think about a series, because, in the interview after, they were talking about, oh, we're a Neslo team, 2-3-5, that's where we want to take our series. The hard points, maybe not our strongest suit, but I think if you're going to be a team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with later on in the year, you have to be able to be confident in your respawns. And last time they played St. Clair, they played them extremely close for a team that doesn't really feel that confident in their hard point abilities. Both of the matches were at least 180 points between the 250 point mark, which is, again, a surprise to a lot of people, knowing how good St. Clair has been this year. And I guess that kind of leads into an interesting point as well for the Saints. Last year, we kind of saw them as only like a search and destroy team, maybe not only a search and destroy team, but that was their bread and butter. That was the mode that they were able to spank everybody in. All of a sudden, we turn around to this year. It seems like we did a complete 180 and a facelift for the team. All of a sudden, we're talking about their hard point as their strongest suit.
It definitely is, and it's one where, again, the Search and Destroy, you still know it's strong, you still bring it to the table and show up night in and night out, but we did see them falter in a recent couple of weeks. So, as you said, one where just that we keep, at some point, we're going to have to be at another grand final and not reference this one anymore, but again, you can't help but bring up when we were in Philly and watching them play against Northwood, knowing, okay, Searches should be a lock for them, and Respawns are where really they need to look to make improvements and see where they can take them off of these other top teams to cement themselves there. They're very much a cemented Respawn team at this point in the season. Not that the Search need works by any stretch. Wichita State is a great, fantastic Search and Destroy team, so that was a map from them. You caught St. Clair lacking slightly too, so again, that wasn't something where St. Clair needed to do some gross overcorrection and go back to their Search and rework it completely. No, it's just you got caught on an off night, you played a good Search team, and they were able to best you there. I mean, Wichita State's only taken one Search loss the entire season. So, again, a very strong team in that, but it's one that if they can now they're just at the buffer and polish stage of their season where, okay, you round out some of these edges, you get yourself looking at peak performance, and they're going to do what we expect them to do, which is land themselves in the grand final setting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people coming into this year had the Northwood St. Clair rematch kind of pinned on the schedule for the grand final again. I still think that holds true to this point as well. St. Clair has been fantastic. Northwood both fantastic as well. Both teams have played their best Call of Duty at this portion of the year, and they're primed and ready, both basically undefeated on the season, barring Northwood's forfeiture loss, which we'll talk about a little bit later on when they get onto the broadcast. But I will say this, just talking about the map set specifically, that or the Search and Destroy rather, yes, it's a run it back type situation from the previous match between these two teams, but I wonder if this is kind of like St. Clair saying like, hey, we're not going to ban that, and it's just kind of like dangling the bait in front of like Wichita State's face and saying like, hey, take this map, we want to play you again. And if you're Wichita State, of course you're going to pick the hotel again because you beat them last time. History tends to repeat itself, and you're hoping it does in this situation. But for St. Clair, I think this is a moment where you can truly one up your opponents and show not just yourselves but everybody else in the collegiate space that you have the ability to come and bounce back just after, again, a week and some change, and take down a team that's probably the most formidable S&D team, maybe not in collegiate Call of Duty, but specifically the NACE Star League we've seen this year.
Absolutely so, and I mean, again, I even just think to the point of, their coach for St. Clair, Coach Zarin, where he's a guy that's going to make them square up on maps they're not good at. He wants them to have a deep map pool going into the postseason. So this hotel is one where, again, I don't even think the players are timid and they're like, oh, I don't want to play Wichita State on hotel. I don't think that's the case either. I think they want to square up again. I think they want to show that, look, they're going to call it, a fluke, and that was something that, we're not going to let happen again. And hopefully, like you said, Wichita State take the bait. They're going to, and now the question is for Wichita State, as you said, can you do the same thing twice, beat St. Clair in a map mode combo that they have previously been undefeated in? So that's definitely going to be what we're circling going into that map 2, regardless of how this map 1 goes. And well, Alex, we've casted a lot of Fortress Hardpoint, they always find a way to get interesting. Yeah,
it has not disappointed. Wichita State coming off their strongest hardpoint performance, at least in my opinion, against OTSU last week in a prove it match number 4, where they had to force a game 5 if they wanted to win the series and get the rematch against St. Clair here. That's exactly what they've done for themselves. Hopefully that practice is going to be able to provide them some sort of hope going forward, and we can see a nice start to this series out of them. However, St. Clair on the opposite side, we talked about how good the respawn is, so a Fortress Hardpoint start here for map 1 is going to be everything and more for them. If they can take that 1-0 series start, which we think they will, that'll be a telltale sign of how St. Clair are going to be playing not only in this portion of the season, but throughout this match.
Absolutely so. I mean, again, even though they said they're a Neslo team, Wichita State, you still want to come out and perform well in the hard points. You don't want to go down 1-0 early against a team where, again, Lightning has to strike the same place twice. You have to beat them on a hotel search and destroy back-to-back matchups. And so starting out 0-1 after this hard point would not be a good way to go. Again, this isn't some Clash of the Titans where St. Clair is just, sure, St. Clair is this giant team that, of course, has this great reputation and wonderful skill set. But again, what we've seen of Wichita State, we're definitely more willing to hedge our bets tonight, realistically saying, look, it's going to have to be all 4 players coming together. It's going to have to be a cohesive effort. Everything will have to be on point, right? You talk about St. Clair and you think, oh, okay, they're always going to put up slaying numbers. And for Wichita State, if we can see it tonight, if they can put up consistent numbers, all 4 players throughout a series, I definitely think they could push this a distance and look to take it at that. But again, you can't have someone go double negative map 1 and wonder, oh, where did we go wrong in the hard point? It really has to start from a player statistic standpoint, where we have seen Wichita State get off to slow starts and stumble in series. Just from player stats alone, I would like to see the Shockers come out and just run at it, really find a way to stick on the scoreboard, and everything else kind of fall into place from there. So that's kind of my primary key to success, is You've stumbled from a player stat standpoint. How can you turn things around and look to hang with St. Clair? And like you said, I think they're on the right track given that they're playing their best hardpoint at this point in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've given a lot of love to the St. Clair roster, but let's talk about what happened and the reason that Wichita State was able to take this map against OTSU on Fortress last week. The big momentum swing in the very beginning of that game, Jake went on an absolute tear. 14-0 to start off that hard point. He was running through the opposition like it was nothing. He was killing everything in his way, and it was a big reason why not only they got out to that lead, but they had a 140-point advantage. Let's talk about the bad thing that happened in that map, though. After getting out to that 140-point jump, they allowed OTSU to start slowly creeping their way back into the game, to where at the certain point in that game, it was a 230 to 220 lead that OTSU had on Wichita State. That was flipped back around, though. Luckily, towards the end of the game, a couple key moments went in their way. A rotation back to P1 was good enough to give them the win, but it was a very close call for them. They just skate by on the edge of their seats, by just the skin of their teeth. And then we all of a sudden saw a completely different Wichita State roster in that search and destroy. They turned it up to another level. They knew they had to win in that game 5. They did. They came to play. But just talking about Fortress, Jake needs to have a big start. But again, just to piggyback off your point, everybody needs to be playing well at the beginning of this game, or you're going to be risking falling behind to a very prominent St. Clair roster in a hard point early.
Absolutely. And while we've still got the time, I mean, again, just to focus back on this map specifically, as you were saying, it's P2 to P3, plain and simple, whether it's the first rotation or the second rotation. I mean, even if you get into the third, but you look at that first and second set of hills, P2 to P3 chain. I mean, again, of course, that's how hardpoint works, right? But there's 120 points on the board that people can very cleanly walk away with. And again, St. Clair, we were talking before even the show and doing our storyboarding, saying if there's an embassy hardpoint in this, I will never bet against St. Clair. Why? Because they control the map so well. Fortress is one that plays a bit more chaotic at times, really coin tossy to embassy, but it's one that if you can control the map, you can influence those spawns and find a way to very easily chain P2s to P3s, or you find a way to get yourself a P1, P2 type of chain early on the second set of rotations. Either way, the St. Clair map controls the St. Clair team controls the map so well that again, that's going to be my early sign of, has Wichita State done their homework? Are they going to play to their strengths that got them a map win against St. Clair a couple weeks ago? And that was what was the one thing we kept saying. They were disrupting the St. Clair flow. They were keeping them uncomfortable. They weren't letting them get in their setups as cleanly as they would have liked. Fortress is a perfect map to see if they've really gotten their reps in on that, because again, these rotations between some of these hills, you could lock down 120 points, and that's where you get the lead that we saw Wichita State get last week against OTSU. It was a P2 to P3 that got OTSU right back in the game. They closed that 140 point deficit with 120 points and then played some hill scrappy from there. So again, there are two focuses on this map for me, given those rotations. And apart from that, slaying, like you said, Jake coming out and starting out 14-0, definitely need to see someone get a hot hand early for Wichita State, kind of get those vibes on fire and really get everyone going.
Few statistical points to just kind of throw in here to add a little bit more salt to the flames and a little fuel to the fire. 7-0 was St. Clair on the season for hardpoint. For Wichita State, 5-4 on the year. So again, this was a Wichita State roster that was not able to best St. Clair in either of the hardpoints that they played in the penultimate series before this matchup. But again, that's a testament to how good St. Clair is in the respawn modes. It's their identity this year. And as much as we want to frame this up as like, yes, Wichita State, given the right circumstances, can win this series. It's still going to be, you have to steal this away from St. Clair. So as we get ready to hop into the Fortress hardpoint here, I know you're getting tired of us talking, so gameplay will soon appear in front of you in a magic way. Yeah, there's really only so much to say about this series before we actually get to see it pan out. So let's just hope that Wichita State brought their A game to this matchup and that they can go ahead and at least come out of the gate strong here in map 1.
Yeah, I think maybe the last thing we have to talk about right before we really dive into things is going to be the subs versus the subs for either side, and then it's going to be Priestley versus Peach are going to be two of the biggest ones that we have coming up.
Absolutely. Well, Frenzy will be up and towards the hill first. Stun check going to be around the corner. Priestley will get the best of him in the first gunfight, so the engagements go the way of St. Clair early on. But it's a nice double back from Wichita State that will allow them to get over towards P1, and this is what they wanted. Flipping out the spawns to give them the advantage on the rotation over towards P2. They're fine with allowing St. Clair to get a little bit of time here early on. They just need to make sure they hold that left portion of the map, because P2 is going to be up in the top left portion of that mini map there, and that's where you really can start to get yourself some money hill.
20 or so seconds left up for grabs for P1. St. Clair with control, but Wichita State still flying out in Class Frenzy. We were talking about these being the subs that can get things going early, and Class finding 3 in a row here to get the last bit of scrap time while they maintain P2 rotation is exactly the start we needed to see.
Absolutely. As Priestley's got himself in towards the hill. St. Clair are going to be looking from the outside in. Break going to be here as the 60-second hill pops. First gunfight's going to be up for Jake. Jake will unfortunately fall. Brandon, nice little headshot there. Start making his way up the map after a 0-3 start. Priestley around the opposite side of the map. Here's the pinch that St. Clair are so good at throwing together. The problem is they didn't realize how quickly the flank was going to be coming through from the wayward spawn across the map. And all of a sudden, St. Clair, what was looking like a promising break, shut down and stopped in its tracks.
Still with enough time left, they warrant these spawns out through the back, and now you're spawning deep P3 if you are Wichita State. So in just a few moments here, if they can collapse and find these kills, Brandon, Priestley, relays all combined for 3. That'll be the break with 30 seconds left. A picture-perfect moment for them to get into that hill. It is going to give Wichita State rotation for now to P3, where you'll see St. Clair start to set their sights, but Wichita State, they're happy to get this rotation. They'll only be down 15 or 20 points.
A few more kills come through. Opposite side of the map, once again, Wichita State is out and ready. Nice little 20 seconds, though, for St. Clair here on the scrap time. Should net them some positive here. Big Peach on the cross, though, with the AR is going to be at least able to cut down Brandon for the time being. Plays in from behind will cut down Peach, so this is going to allow St. Clair to get forward yet again on the map. They're all going to funnel through this doorway here. It's going to be a difficult gunfight, but if they're able to take at least 1 or 2 gunfights here, it might just prove to be successful. As a few players are now in, Brandon will win the first one-on-one. Class falls. Frenzy, the next one up to challenge, is up for 1, tries to get the second, but Blaze is there to shut him down. So now as he pushes forward with dead silence, it's a 1 versus 1 for the hill time here. A nice little aerial is going to be able to find us a kill. And as Relays hops in towards the point, St. Clair once again have been able to break.
Right at that 30-second mark, too, once again. So, Wichita State, they are playing this close. You'd like to see them hold on to a setup a bit longer if they want to extend any kind of lead. But for now, this Fortress Hardpoint playing exactly how we figured it would, right? Very split. Both teams coming out on their A game. Wichita State winning every rotation so far as well, which is an interesting thing to note, that if St. Clair can get out and ahead on one of these, you'd like to think they could walk away with the lion's share of time. But again, these subs really leading the charge for Wichita here.
Priestley up top, once again trying to be the first man forward for St. Clair. Has done a beautiful job this game of being that guy that can open the door up for his team to swing on through, to break in towards the point. And as Wichita State once again are the first ones on a rotation, this is where they made their home against OTSU. The bottom of arc, they got so much good time here, and if they can do it yet again versus St. Clair, they can reclaim the lead and put substantial distance in between them in terms of the scoreboard. Blaze, though, up from the top. Brandon's going to be in as well, but it's Frenzy will pop a double and force St. Clair to back off yet again. A beautiful hold here early on for the first 30 seconds for Wichita State.
And this is the point where St. Clair can usually find a way in, but it's not looking that way for now. A couple kills come in, Frenzy's able to clean it up. That's the point in which St. Clair has been able to get in every single time. Now you hold on, you get at least 10 more seconds on the board. A nade through the back, Relays trying to find this kill over the top, but nothing giving yet. The Shockers, with their most significant hold yet, the lead starting to show for it now as they cross that century mark. Blaze
in, good challenge there. Nice little bounce St. Clair, but it's only going to be about 10 seconds of time, and we've lost connection to the host. Unfortunate. So, map 1, not really going the way of anybody just yet. It was a pretty even kiln all the way up to that point. Regardless of the fact, though, St. Clair, you know, maybe not playing their best hard point to start things off, but I think you got to give the credit where credit is due to Wichita State. They came out hot, and they were actually being able to put pressure on St. Clair, which is really one of your keys to success and the reason that they were able to find such a gratifying effort there in the early portions of map 1.
Absolutely, yeah. Class and Frenzy playing exactly how, you know, me personally had hoped they would, right? We see so many glimpses of them getting off to electric starts, playing off of each other as far as tempo goes around the map, and they were doing just that, popping a couple. You think of Class's 3-piece at P1, and then you think of them going back and forth for a couple as well. Not to mention the AR is getting out and rotating, right? Like I said, Wichita State through 4 hills had won every rotation, so again, signs pointing in a wonderful direction. Hopefully, you know, we had just lost connection, and they're still playing it on, but you know, would like to be able to get in there and see what's going on. Either way, we're going to get some word here soon and get back into this one if we can. But again, you said it best. Wichita State, you got to give them credit for how they've come out and played this one. And for St. Clair, it's just one where, like I had said, going into P4, if they can win a rotation, I think things definitely change for them, right? That's kind of what you're hoping for. Is you don't want to rely on breaks for an entirety of a hard point. You'd like to settle in, get a rotation there. So a good job out of them for Wichita State to be able to force them to be uncomfortable. And for St. Clair, they're just looking to try to get in.
All right, while we figure things out in the background, I do believe it was just us who lost connection to the game instead of the lobby. So while that plays out in the background, we'll be able to report that back to you. When we come back from a break, we're going to step aside. When we get back, we'll talk map 2 if St. Clair and Wichita State have come to the conclusion of their hardpoint. We apologize for the length of our break and the fact that we didn't get to see the rest of map number 1, and I regret to inform you that it was a banger. 250 to 219, the final score on the Fortress Hardpoint. St. Clair, though, was able to eke it out over the Wichita State roster. That means the Shockers are down 0-1 going into a search and destroy, just as they were going into a hotel search and destroy the last time these two rosters play. I know, crazy, beating a dead horse with the storylines here, but that's really all the implications and the storylines that we have to go on this matchup, because it's really the most important thing about it. So hotel search and destroy coming up with Cash. It just sucks that we missed a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we're guaranteed another respawn in this series. So, given how map 2 goes, we could even get to see another hardpoint, which would be on Hotel, which Wichita State played a very strong Hotel hardpoint the other day as well. So, again, hopefully this series continues to extend and we really get one for the ages between these two teams. But for now, what we know, what we have going into this map 2 hotel, like you said, of course, we have our previous storyline of, hey, Wichita State's taken this before, but even what we got to see, you know, of the Fortress hardpoint, St. Clair obviously found their groove at some point, whether it was even overtaking a hill at the last moment and winning by 30 by 30 or so seconds. That's definitely something that we will get to come on this hardpoint 1, where again, they are looking to and try to take down this Wichita State team.
They will hop across, relays down below the bottom of the bedroom, looking for that cross from Wichita State. Not sure if it got called out, but the bomb has been dropped over on that A site. Jake has found himself in quite the pickle on the opposite side of a nice place sniper shot from Brandon. Plays now in the back, also looking for just something around the map to work with here. This class now gets cut down by Brandon as well. St. Clair in a man advantage in a 4 versus 2.
Bomb down. Trying to find any information you can. Maybe to find a pick. Work back towards the site, but St. Clair very stout on this defense. All of mid-map taken and locked down, and with 30 seconds and dwindling left, Brandon will find one to put it into 1v4. Priestley will clean up the last. Solid defensive hold out of St. Clair to start.
Absolutely. You know, realistically, all it boils down to, and what it did in the last matchup with these two teams, first blood. It's as simply put as it is. It's just a blunt statement that I mean, really can dictate any search and destroy match even across the board. But a lot of the times here, and at least in collegiate Call of Duty, you know, first bloods don't always correlate to those round wins. But when St. Clair and Wichita State are concerned, the biggest thing is just making sure that you're able to dictate the map and command your way through while having that man advantage and just being able to play with the utmost aggression. That the St. Clair Saints love to. However, Jake in the back lines, this time going to have the sniper out. He's able to take not only 1, but 2 off the board. Frenzy there for 1 as well. And in a 4 versus 2, Wichita State with the man advantage About a minute and 8 seconds to work with here on the defense as St. Clair's going to try and rally around the map to at least find a kill to equalize.
And I can't wait to see how long Jake gets to play in secret without getting found. I mean, of course, you have Blaz on the other side sniping, but Jake literally makes that his home and is somehow able to continue to find pick after pick. We'll see what they're able to do, though, because Blaz is able to finally get the trade. Jake does go down. And now 2v3 bombs sitting around mid-map, maybe waiting for a pick, maybe waiting for a cross to the B site. At least to have it as an option. You see player 8 and Blaz wrapping back. And at the moment with 35 seconds left, they still have time to decide. They just want to try to find a freebie if they can.
Making his way with the bomb over towards the B site. Wichita State are privy to a potential rotation here. Jake will put his attention back towards the middle of the map. No dead silence, but as Blaze checks the left side corner, he'll be able to snap back around. Peach will fall, and all of a sudden, it's a 2 versus 2. They're going to have enough time to get the bomb down here. 14 seconds. Blaze back to full HP. We'll spot Frenzy on the reflank all the way through the spawn side. And now in a 2 versus 2 with 45 seconds left, it's Wichita State who are on the offensive.
They're going to push the side as well. Bang spots coming. Allows him to take care of things from the front. And suddenly a 1v2 with bomb planted, but was a man disadvantaged by 1. Priestley going to snake this counter like we know people do so well here. And he's going to try to do what he can, but you've got Blaze on the chase.
Oh.
Now with minimal time left, let alone being able to find a kill, this one should be coming to a close here in a moment.
Was weakened up, but still has an opportunity to get in towards the point. Priestley still on the outside. Now going to be able to use his head glitch to his advantage. Forces Frenzy in through the doorway. And much like Wichita State did to St. Clair in the previous Search and Destroy matchup, St. Clair does to them, gives them a taste of their own medicine, and completes a beautiful 2 versus 4 in the round there. Took it slowly but surely, got the bomb down over a B. They've got a 2-round lead here in the Search and Destroy.
Last time I played, they were only able to take 3 total rounds against Wichita State, but in this one, very much the aggressor, very much the aggressor, very much getting out to the early advantage, like to really just put teams away as quick as they can. Wichita State need to string together a good response here. This isn't some do or die round, but you definitely want to see them show some life, get some points on the board, and they're going to try to work this A site quickly. Again, Jake connecting, sniper off the board now for St. Clair. What can you do behind this pressure?
It's just laying down. They do have a pick here to work with. In a 4 versus 3, aggression could be theirs. However, they still have to deal with Brandon, who's watching the flank all the way across, the cross all the way to the bomb site. This Frenzy and Class will both challenge up at the same time. Aim assist will be dragged across the screen. Relays, though, will find Class. That's going to be the bomb down on the A site. Frenzy going to hop down. Beautiful drop shot will take off the head of Relays. And now it's all Priestley left alive in a 1 versus 3. He was able to find the first. Jake and his teammate Peach just playing the staircase. Dead silence not popped. And as he starts to turn away and hightail to the middle of the map, Wichita State will be able to shut them down and find themselves the first round on the board.
Starts with Jake. Insufficient with the sniper. It is something that is hard to play around. Just started 3 and 2 here, but again had very impactful kills. And you said it best after round 1, though we're only 3 in. It is first bloods that are really so important for either of these teams. Wichita State get a good one on the board behind, again, just good trading ability as well, keeping themselves a man disadvantage and not losing it this go around. Great effort out of them. Now defensively, can they look to tie things up at 2, or do St. Clair look to continue to extend their lead?
Offensive hit over towards B. This is what St. Clair said they wanted to work on a little bit more. Being more comfortable over at the B site. Being able to fight into the kitchen. But there's going to be one player here just waiting for them to peek on through. Peach was the one that he was here last time. It was a dead silence push, so I was able to get the best of him. That's almost deja vu. I'm not kidding. The match that we saw last time, where Blaze is able to get through to find one in the back for Peach. The dead silence was used, invested, and popped. Jake in the back line, though, with a sniper will at least try to make things a bit more manageable. But as Class is forced to back off, they now have the information of where these 2 players are for Wichita State, and the bomb has gone down at B.
And you know Jake has a sniper. I don't even know that he's been able to run over a body and scoop something else, so he's playing very much the distance, trying to take any kind of long gunfight that he can. Class has to lead the charge here. Nade to the top. Not sure if any trophies are on. I'm not thinking so, but again, with time dwindling, you've realistically got 13 seconds to make a play on this bomb.
Relays in down below. Brandon holding a corner with Priestley there too, but he's weakened up. Class hops in towards the hill. Jake, the last one alive, had a sniper, now a pistol to work with. Picked up a Vaznev, backs off for a moment's notice. Stun checked out, and with 7.5 seconds left on the clock, there's no time for a defuse. St. Clair's going to hunt him down as well, and the pack is out and roaming. 3-1 lead here for St. Clair.
Call the best. They executed today. Again, usually you just have an island play, so whenever you know what you want to do at that off-site, typically, I mean, unless someone pops a miracle 3-piece on the opposition, you can generally get in and get that bomb down not too much of a fuss. Wichita State to pay respect to that from here on out. Now, as you see here, of course, Class, Peach, not on the board yet for Wichita State. Those are two players that we talked about being high-impact players for this team. Peach with AR, of course, him and Priestley going at it for the duration of the series. That's going to be a matchup you hope turns around for the sake of Wichita State.
Relays looking out for just a moment. Not able to find anything, forced to back off as the offense once again trying to get aggressive here from Wichita State. Frenzy trying to be able to find that first blood here for Wichita, and he will be able to do so. Headshot rips off, relays off the heady, and now as Brandon is starting to make his way back over towards the middle of the map, this is what St. Clair was able to do last time to shut things down. As Priestley is slowly starting to make his way up the map, the bomb is still yet to go down, and Blaze is able to equalize things back to a 3 versus 3, and even-headed standstill now as Wichita State are still trying to play aggressive up the map.
Through the back lines, Priestley popping Deddy. Looking to make a move. No one for Wichita State weary to this push. As the two players have distracted from the front, they're going to hop along to this A site. And again, if Priestley can get some timing here, he could just blow this play up.
Class still weak, forced to back off. Blaze still making his way up. A big Peach will make things a 2 versus 2. Manageable here for Wichita State. And they don't know that Peach has actually gotten his way all the way back and around. There's somebody up in towards the top of the bedroom as well. Brandon, 1 versus 1 onto Class. Last 2 players alive. Bomb gonna get picked up. 13 seconds left. And as that's going to go down, it's gonna be a 45-second timer left here. But as Brandon starts getting closer and closer over towards it, Peach up the staircase will fall. And once again, St. Clair are able to win a round where the first blood was not in their favor. They have clutched up time after time after time here on this Hotel S&D. They are creeping ever closer to a 2-0 lead.
4-1 the map count. Wichita State, I mean, simply lifeless and this search and destroy to what we've seen. St. Clair, as you said, just besting them at every turn. And for Wichita State, you'll want to get some momentum garnered soon. Of course, we weren't in on that hard point for the majority of it, but Wichita State played it close. Hopefully that wasn't a deflating loss enough to take them completely out of this one. But a search and destroy team where they are 7-1, not looking like it here in this Hotel S&D, but we shaped it up at the top of the show. St. Clair wanted a rematch on this map. They wanted to throw out the bait to see if the Shockers would take it, and now they're punishing them for the rematch.
Blaze, sniper, beautiful onto Jake, shuts down what they had on the defensive end all the way in towards the back of the laundry area. As Priestley has now started to make his way forward, Class will back all the way off and towards the spawn side. And as the garage has now been occupied, and Wichita State try to do what St. Clair did the previous time beforehand on defense, the bomb goes down at 8 for free. Priestley's on the push all the way on the offensive up and towards top bedroom, but he doesn't realize that Class is going to be just around the corner, but he gets the best of him on the timing. 1 versus 3 for Peach here, and he's got to get all the way across the map. The first gunfight won't go his way. He'll fall. St. Clair now put themselves at match point here in the search and destroy. This is a completely different Saints roster that we have seen here on this hotel. They have absolutely turned things around and found out a new game plan that works for them.
Executing at every turn, everyone getting a piece of the pie in the surge, making impact and presence felt. Playing the map really well is what it boils down to. Fundamental search comes down to first bloods and how well you play the map. To St. Clair, checkmark in both of those columns. Wichita State haven't been able to get out and get loose. Class, Frenzy, the subs that usually take off and fly. You haven't seen Class get loose or get anywhere where he can make a flank route. Nothing comfortable going the way of Wichita State, and as everyone is going to full send this A site, all of St. Clair are going to look to push through B, and I mean, this is a more than 2-man flank. You're in for quite the treat, Wichita.
I mean, realistically, St. Clair just do such a good job of occupying the middle of the map here on Hotel. It's what you have to do on offense and or defense. Specifically on the defensive end, it has allowed them to win so many situations they otherwise would have been left in the mud with. Now, as they have had a player fall off the board, we've seen him in this situation before here on defense, down a life. Wichita State, we've talked how you are the class of the field here in Search and Destroy all year long. This is where you really need to prove this. If you lose this S&D here, it feels like this series is pretty much done and dusted.
All 3 players stacked the mid-map for St. Clair. 40 seconds on the timer for them to work through here. Do they get a read on Peach behind desk? Yes, they do. And Jake is not able to trade, so they get out with their life. And now a 3v3. Everyone stacked up bedside. 2 players in the back line for St. Clair. What do they do to play this?
Still a lot of time, and Brandon could get some good timing through the back door, but he doesn't open it. Instead, opts to go up to the top of P6. But but he has dead silence pop. Checks the right side corner. Oh my, 1 HP survives. 3 versus 2, 15 seconds left. They're in a good position right now to be able to take down the bomb, and in a 1 versus 3, Frenzy has to go massive. Defuse starting to be on here. Frenzy forced to back down. 9 HP, won't be able to hop back up, but he finds the first, can't find the diffuser, and it comes through all the way down to the very end. St. Clair, a 6-1 victory in the search and destroy, almost completely flawless all the way through. And Wichita State's woes, they continue to keep growing forward and forward. It presses, but it still is the death wish that they had. 2 breadsticks, a trip to Olive Garden. Wichita State, you're down 0-2 in a hole.
Double positive for Blaze, everyone positive across the way for the rest of St. Clair. I mean, great work out of them, you know, just to come out to rematch on that map, and how important that was for St. Clair to take, right? Because they just, you know, even though they lost it, and of course that's not often you see them do, it's still a good one to go back out and say, all right, we go out, we execute well, we can take map. It's just nice to have a game plan, and when you execute it, you'd like to think you walk out with a map win, and more times than not, surely you will. They go out, they do their thing, but the problems that are continuing, at least that we see in the search, and what we'll look to see if the trends continue in the control, I mean, again, I don't have a much crazier way to put it, but you have to go toe-to-toe with them slaying, and then 2 kills between 2 players is just simply not going to be a way that gets it done. I know there are many other facets to hardpoint and control and search specifically, but again, kills on the board definitely mean you're trading well, you're either getting first bloods, but whatever the case may be, it means you're involved, and for Wichita State, you were just lacking that through half your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really difficult to win a search and destroy when St. Clair is playing at their utmost ability, but at the same time, when you're not able to win individual one-on-one gunfights, when you allow Priest to be able to fly through your back line and then take somebody down off the top of P6 when he doesn't even realize the player is there. The reaction time, the snap was perfect, survives at 1 HP. That gunfight goes a different way, maybe on a different ping, and we're talking a different story.
Yep.
But for now, with a 6-1 victory, St. Clair in firm control of this series in the driver's seat, and it's dangerously close to being a 3-0 yet again here for St. Clair. You can tell they were fed up with taking the map loss in the first place. They resurrect that, and now they go to a control here for map number 3. So we're going to send things to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk the third map. We'll stay on Hotel. We'll see if St. Clair can close the series out in a 3-0. Welcome back to the conference championships. I'm Cormiel. With me is Cash. Wichita State unfortunately suffering their probably hardest search and destroy loss of the season. It, of course, comes to the hands of St. Clair, who have not only taken themselves a 2-0 lead, but have looked like the better team through and through this matchup so far. We go to Hotel yet again here, but for control, and this is for potentially the series here. St. Clair, of course, able to come out and take this the control. Then this is going to be a done open shut 3-0 series, which a lot of us kind of anticipated coming into the series, barring maybe another search and destroy win from Wichita State. But Cash, earlier you had mentioned, you know, the deeper this goes into the series, the better of a chance Wichita State have. Where do you kind of view their chances right now going into this control?
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair and great to be completely candid, right? Of course, you know, we realistically did give them a chance to be able to take this series, but again, that's on the backhand of performance that matches those expectations, and we just haven't had the performances to match and meet those expectations. Again, you're going up against the St. Clair, right? This is nothing new. I know we keep continuing to beat the same point to death, but realistically speaking, St. Clair's going to put up numbers consistently night in and night out. You cannot afford to falter in any way. That's just, unfortunately, whatever angle you want to take, that's the level of competition we're playing at here. If you want to be best, you have to beat the best, and that comes with performing at the level of these players where, again, all four of them never slip, never falter, maybe seldomly at times, you know. So for Wichita State, it's not even that close. That destroy was one of the most flat that we've seen Wichita State here. So, and the question goes, fairing their chances in the series, not great. It would have to be, and I hate calling this in a series because you'd like for things to be playing closer. They just simply aren't. So for me, it has to be a 180 turnaround, because I know we missed the map one search and destroy, map one hard point, excuse me, but obviously they had falter where they ended up dropping it by 30 or so points. You know, getting insight to that would be important to kind of where they had slipped up. But what we know of the series so far, especially in that search and destroy, playing very uncharacteristic to what we know their strong suits are. We would have to see a complete script flip in this hard point for me, or excuse me, this control to favor their chances once again. Not to say that they were super favored or anything crazy, but just to realistically put them back in the conversation of staying in the series, keep it alive. Yeah, if the series goes on, I absolutely still look to favor them, and they have a chance to pull it off. But it obviously has to start with this control, one that, when you go down 0-2 to St. Clair, I mean, obviously this whole season they haven't let up map that search and destroy. They've closed things out, especially in the respawn. You said it best. This is their identity this year. They are one of the strongest respawn teams in the collegiate scene. Unfortunately, I think you've dug too deep of a hole, and this team does not let off the gas in any way.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to dig out, but I will say this, folks, if you are trying to remember what we are playing for here, I know it feels like a playoff situation with Wichita State and St. Clair going up against one another here early on. This is to get into the playoffs as a lock. The team that wins their conference championship will be in the playoffs as a lock, whether it be a 1 through 5 seed. The other teams will then go into the LCQ, rather the teams that lose in their conference championships will go into the LCQ to join the teams that were also in the conference play-ins that eventually went on to lose, and a few other teams, and then we will get our round of 15 for our scheduled playoff once we do get there a little later on during the week. Really, Cash, Wichita State, I don't want to be negative Nancy. I don't want to be hate watch Andy, but I'll say this, if there's any sort of kind of aspiration or kind of anything that you wanted to have this year, you branded yourselves off being a Neslo team. You want to take 2, you want to take 3, and you want to take 5. If you don't take 3 here, you kind of lose all faith and credibility within that sentence, and within that kind of field of frame, and that does not bode well going forward. I still think this is going to be a team that's fighting for a top 8 spot at the end of the year. I just need to be able to see them come back from, some of their losses in the respawns against the St. Clair roster with a little bit more tenacity, a little more firepower, a little bit more of a polished aspect to their gameplay, because we saw what St. Clair was able to do in a week and a half. They were able to come back, bounce back, win 6-1 over a very formidable search and destroy team of Wichita State. What did Wichita State do? They lost map 1, albeit it played close, but it's Fortress, and now you go into another respawn here on Hotel. If you're not able to take this control or at least play it close, I don't have faith in this team being able to go the distance with the best, or even be able to kind of resurface things against a team like St. Clair, against a Northwood, against some of the other top teams and some of the other conferences. This is a very, very shark-infested aspiration pool at the end of the season here. If you're not able to be able to show out consistently on a consistent basis, I don't really know where else to peg you but down a notch from the top team.
Absolutely. And, the viewers at home probably tired of hearing us talk about consistency, but plain and simple with everything, the best teams continue to play their best no matter who the competition is. And like you said, if you find a way to pull off the series more competitive, it goes to, even if you can take a map, right, that's still against the likes of a St. considered competitive in a sense. And obviously everyone being competitors are going out and giving their best, but something where, look, that's what it has to be. What separates the best teams from, like you said, kind of that peg below is you don't ever see St. Clair and say, oh, a couple of them, just had an off night, but they still squeaked out a series. It's like they're, and the same thing with your Northwood, right? They're clubbing teams every single night. They're finding ways to continue to put on more and more dominant performances. And, just some teams miss that mark a bit. But like you said, I definitely fare these Shockers to be a top 8 finish at the end of the season, given their playoff road. But yeah, it's something where until you figure out the consistency thing, all 4 players can get on the same page, show up for one another night in and night out. It is going to be situations like this where you're having to pull off a reverse sweep, and stakes only get higher, not only as you go into the playoffs, but if you don't take this series, you'll have to be battling through the LCQ, which is unfortunately a win or go home type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Neither team, at least at this juncture, guaranteed a playoff spot. Well, I should say that one of these teams is guaranteed a playoff spot, but neither of them right now have solidified themselves into that slot. So with a 2-0 lead, things can still turn awry, and things might be able to shift in the opposite direction. The pendulum swing might be able to go to Wichita State, but if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my channel points and my pride on the St. Clair Saints here so far. So this class will be down below. We got ourselves a nice little overlay at the top. Pretty. It's all beautiful from here. And as Blaze is able to find the first blood here in the round, it's a bounce back from Wichita State that gives them 2 kills. It's an early offensive hit here over towards the B zone, though, trying to find themselves that first tick of progress. Might not be able to get, and they won't, at least for now. Big Peach will pop a double. Frenzy will be there for a third, and it's pretty much a 4 down here from St. Clair, who will re-hit over towards A.
Class still going to be over here with the sub, trying to get the mix, trying to find a couple of kills. Is able to find one, at least rogue side now. Going back and forth, waiting for his teammates again as they look to push through freezer. Everyone trying to rotate over towards A as they look to try not to give up a clean hit here. And Peach, someone who's out to a decent start here at 4-2, is definitely someone you want to see get going in the series if Wichita State look to stand a chance with things going forward.
Frenzy pops down. Nice little start here. 4-0, tries to make it 5, but Brandon laying down with the Vaznev in hand is going to be able to walk away with a gunfight win. Big Peach trying to challenge here onto Priestley. No ticks of progress either on the A or the B zones, and they really haven't been able to stall out this clock either. 6 life advantage here to Wichita State. Blaze will be in and forward. Clock will stop at 21 seconds, but there's still 2 players here for Wichita State, and they are okay with throwing a few more lives away here to try and shut down this point and dwindle a little bit more time off the clock. Class, a beautiful double. Hops in and around the corner. The bunny hop will be able to catch the second player off guard, and as that second tick of progress surely should come to a completion here in just a moment. Wichita State, well, they don't really look to send any more bodies towards this, especially as Frenzy gets cut down in the middle of the map.
St. Clair will be at a 4 life disadvantage as they make their way towards the B site. They'll have about a minute 20 seconds on the clock going forward. In Wichita State, you got to hold a stout defense. Class, another walking 2-piece here for them, and again, they've got good setup control over at this site. It's just a matter of not giving up too many openings. Everyone working to the back for St. Clair. Peach, Jake combining the back lines to take care of things, and as one falls, the spawn ups come in, and now St. Clair look to make their push.
Class says hello to Brandon. Brandon puts him down for a bedtime story. Priestley starts to make his march forward. He's found Frenzy as well. 11-14, Wichita State still up by 3 lives. Stun check out in the back line. Won't be able to connect with anything just yet, but as Brandon's waiting for one around the corner, Class will fall. Frenzy tries to go out for a second. Pre-fire is going to be there. Jake, the next one up to challenge, forces a pinstripe kill feed and gives Wichita State a 3-2 advantage in the kill feed. Blaze still trying to do-si-do around the point. Class is going to be there. Shots with a Vaznev are going to be good, so this is going to force St. Clair all the way back to their spawn point for another hit, but it's going to be the last one they have as a team, as they've only got 7 lives remaining.
All it takes is one clean set of kills, and if anyone can do it, the Saints absolutely poised to. They're making their push through mid-map. It's feeling like a search and destroy around the way they're working this through, thinking out their strategy. Gonna charge forward, a couple are gonna fall, that'll just be a couple left. You don't really have time to fully wait for them to come up off spawn. You've got to try to get some map real estate for your teammates as they look to push up with you.
Brandon gonna be the first one here. Shots are gonna be out. Up on the staircase, was able to spot out Class. Class is gonna challenge a bit egregiously there. 1-1 trade back and forth between the teams. Brandon will go ahead and put light on another. Jake falls. Frenzy in the back line, down below in the bottom of the bedroom, and into 2 versus 9 with nobody really pushed up across the map and only 5 seconds left here to get through. Wichita State will be able to take themselves the first round here of the control off the board and give them a 1-0 lead in a map that they have to win.
Didn't give up a single tick of progress at B as well. Really good signs pointing if, you know, St. Clair turn things around and this gets pushed the distance to around 5. Off to a great start defensively. Now, offensively, what can you do on your end? Obviously, St. Clair gave it a B, pushed their initial look. We'll see if Wichita State look to do some of the same and maybe pull it off in any kind of more successful venture. But again, you look at the scoreboard. You have Frenzy on a 5 spree, out to 9 and 6. Peach out to 9 and 5. This is the performance we needed to see from Wichita State to say, yeah, whenever you're all turning up and putting up numbers, they can definitely go toe-to-toe. Sure, that was only one round in a very long control, let alone a long series. But again, these are the signs that we're pointing of if this can be done consistently, this team can find success.
Don't force the map to bend to you. Bend to what the map is presenting you. And that is what Frenzy, Wichita State have done so far. 6 in a row. That's going to be a glide bomb to use a little bit later on. Glide bomb, World War II in Vanguard. It's going to be a cruise missile to invest here later on in the round. Priestley stun check around the right side corner. Going to be able to pop up for 1. Second tick of progress is going to be there. And you can see just how much faster Wichita State are able to go ahead and capture this point compared to what St. Clair was able to do the last time through. Sure, they only get 2 ticks, but so much time to work with. 1 minute and 10 left here in the round. They still haven't been able to go ahead and find everybody here. So St. Clair now forced to the back lines. 2 versus 2 over towards the A site. We're going to hop inside of Wine. Gonna be Class around the corner. Gets a nice little pre-fire. Shots are going to be there. Spots the third one out in the doorway into the middle of the map. And as Blaze falls, everybody from Wichita State can push up, give themselves an extra minute on the clock. Got about, I don't know, say 2 minutes to go back over towards B.
Life advantage as well, and they're working through the back lines. Jake will open up a long-range gunfight AR. Class to the top, going to get found. Now as everyone looks to make their push to the back, St. Clair stack there, privy to it. Know where this push is coming from, but Frenzy still carving his way through the map and finding these kills. This push to the back is starting to take form.
Stay up in the top of the bedroom, looking to get out to the spawn side of Wichita State. Doesn't peek around the corner where Class is at the moment. They don't realize that a few players have slipped through the cracks. Wichita State, though, of course, as I say that, will have Frenzy be the first one to fall. Class and Jake will go down as well. Do they know that Big Peach is in their spawn side? I'm pretty sure Brandon does. He was being a bit careful there, trying to check around in the back line. Nobody going to be privy to him just yet, though. And as everybody starts to make their way up the map, St. Clair trying to just cut down all the lanes in the real estate that Wichita have built up for themselves. Class down below on the staircase, looking for 1. Frenzy opens the door with a Semtex kill onto Brandon.
They were going to try to get across in a hurry and get over towards the site, but with no top bed control, it's so hard. You find one player and think the job's done, but that's not going to be the case. Relays on the chase. Trying to shoot Frenzy in the back, but Jake there quick on the trade, and now the push marches forward. You back these players down. This might be your best look at the B site you've had all round. What can you do to get off this mid-cross?
You get them discombobulated. You're able to get some shots in the back, find a few players of St. Clair, and now through the middle of the map, you have somebody up in top. That's bedroom for Jake control, as he's found 2 here already. Nobody from St. Clair is able to get through the middle of the map. But the problem is you haven't stacked the zone. You haven't even gotten the first tick of progress yet. You were trying to get everything set up, but that has allowed Priestley to get a flank all the way through the back line. Might be able to shoot 1 in the back. There's going to be 1. Snaps to the second. Not able to get the second tick of progress. 15 to 13. Offense still in control of the life count for now, but with 30 seconds left here, St. Clair are trying to swarm back to the point as another 3 go down.
Make that all 4 back to the starting block with 1 tick of progress left with 1 person on it. St. Clair half the flight, does 1 big kills, still going the way of Wichita State.
Still stacking on the point, though, for Wichita. Relays isn't able to get out through the doorway, and as everybody has gotten themselves onto the point, Wichita State 1 round away here on the hotel control from taking a respawn on St. Clair's and igniting a spark inside of the series.
It's looked good. When that scoreboard comes back up, you better believe that's the first thing I'm pointing to. Because Wichita State have arrived in this series with, again, the pace that they've pushed between their 2 sub players, the way they're able to find kills. I mean, again, leading the lobby, all of your players with more kills than everyone for St. Clair as well. So everyone with double digits, finding good kills around the board. I mean, again, the objective play good. The communication has to be good as a result of the way they're able to trade each other out. But again, with everyone plus or minus 4 kills of each other, definitely boding well for the Wichita State team. But St. Clair, if there's any team that can turn things around on a dime, it'll be this squad.
It is them, but I do have to remind you, Frenzy still has a glide bomb, or dude, I keep saying it, has a cruise missile to work with still. Class has worked his way up to a 5 spree now. One more kill for him. He'll be looking himself a cruise missile as well. Blaze just sitting in the corner of wine right now. Very passive play here on the defense. They know that they can allow St. Clair to get this point here over at A. Going to be a methodical round here the rest of the way out. 2 minutes and 13 seconds to work with. Wichita State waiting for everything to line up.
Class strikes. Finds 7, finds the streak behind it. And that could be potential to what sends them over. As you said, 2 streaks now in the back pocket for this team. If things get mixy, if things get dicey over at B, they could absolutely call those out. Problem is, you did give St. Clair a lot of time on the clock to work towards this B site, so you have to keep in mind the timings of coming off spawn and being able to use a streak here. Blaze on a great trade. Now they're trying to get top bed control previously combined for a second. You're trying to sniff out a couple more kills before you're confident in this push.
I mean, they had to play slow because they knew where nobody was. But now as Big Peach falls in the back line, that's their last line of defense. Jake sure he can hop out on over. Semtex is going to be onto the point, but he's able to win the 1 versus 1. Now, however, Priestley, who runs up quickly on the staircase, and nobody's even close here over towards the B site. Streak going to be invested, is able to find 1, but still here at the point. It's St. Clair, 2 ticks of progress. Now looking for the final 1. Out the back door, Wichita State are just going to have to burst onto the point and try to stay alive. They can't get the touch on it. St. Clair an offensive round win. They get them to invest a streak in the round they lose as well. This is the turnaround point that we wanted to see from St. Clair here in the control, and we have started to get themselves a bit of momentum.
Got a 3 down and didn't look back from there. As you said, they draw out the streak. That means there's only 1 left on the board. And this will be a defensive round. So, I mean, again, question marks for Wichita State, too. Depending on the situation, right, you're only going to... Generally, you would only want to use that streak if you have a good attacking position that you want to push them back further from. Sure, they could use it, you know, to maybe open up a site on transition from A to B. But it could be one that, again, they really hang on to and don't even possibly use this round. They could save it for a potential round 5 defense if they've done their math right. Still a whole round ahead of us here, but lots of decisions. St. Clair aware of that as well. Relays with a streak of his own now, too. That's definitely something they can answer back with.
Things starting to get a bit more difficult here for Wichita State to continue their lead, but the first tick of progress at A should be a nice sign for them. They need to take this offensive round to continue their hopes and dreams of a reverse sweep versus St. Clair. That's a hard word to say sometimes, especially when you're tired. Relays it to the point, though. 7 in a row. Tries to snap back up with a Vaznev. Won't be able to get anything just yet. It is with St. Clair, though, who are trying to go ahead, decrease the amount of progress in towards the A zone, but at the same time, just making sure they stall the clock out as much as humanly possible to give them the advantage. They've got a 2-life lead now here on defense. Priestley somehow survives with 2 HP, and still the clock continues to bleed as Wichita State finally get themselves back onto the A point.
Less than the lives, I think the more important thing is how much time was bled. As you said, less than 2 minutes going into this one, already down to 1:45. Mid-map control going to be important to slow down this push through the back lines. Blaze connects with a grenade, and you've got Relays watching this back push. You've got someone jewelry for Wichita State as well as P2. So again, is Relays ready for these gunfights? The answer going to be found in just a moment, but his teammates are taking care of things on the front lines.
Each spots him out in the back. Semtex won't be able to weaken him up, but forces him from being able to push things out. As he's able to find the last few shots, Jake will be able to be there for a contestation. So a double back pinstripe kill feed. Wichita State gives them another man advantage up, but it's still a 4-life advantage to the St. Clair Saints, who are on the defensive end. They clear out their spawn side, they clear out the middle of the map, and now as Wichita State tries to hit back on the refrag, it's going to be Frenzy who's the first one there. He's got Blaze cut down in front of him, and a 19-15 advantage still holds for St. Clair here, but in the middle of the map, this is where things get tricky because Wichita State could very easily and aggressively get into the back line.
And these next 20 seconds are going to be so telling of the round because, again, if this flank's going to happen, it needs to come quickly. Jake gets 2 in the front. This is where you need to fly if you're Peach to put pressure on St. Clair. Get them spawning out. For now, they're still spawning safe in spawn. You have someone stopping the clock, sure, but, again, you can't afford to die here. Jake going on a tear, finding 4 in a row now. This could be their moment.
Brandon just needed to stay down there. Instead, he tries to drop across, get himself better positioning, but it costs him his life and everything dearly. Another kill goes in the way of Peach. Wichita State have stacked themselves on the point. St. Clair just trying to funnel their way through the middle of the map, but guess what? Wichita State is ready for it, and for the first time, St. Clair is staring down the barrel of a gun in a control. Wichita State will be able to take map 3, force a map number 4. This series got a hell of a lot more interesting because now we go back to Hotel for a hard point where Wichita State have played St. Clair close in the series thus far. We could be talking about a game 5 before it's too long.
Absolutely could. Wichita State, I mean, they simply came out and did it against all odds and a respawn. And we talk about, you know, consistency in a team and what numbers do you put up. It is not often, you know, you're not going to go perfect, or you're not going to put up your best numbers every single night, every single series, right? That's impossible. But again, this is where you find St. Clair had a very poor hotel control, statistically speaking. I mean, you had Blaze going 16 and 22. Performance is similar to that. So again, whenever you catch St. Clair reeling, take advantage and punish them for it. Wichita State do that. They were on fire. St. Clair came out flat, and they take the map forward. That's exactly what you need to do in that situation. The Shockers go out and do it. And now, again, how do you fare in a map where St. Clair bounce back strong and they come out hot like you're used to them seeing? How do you take that kind of hit, right? Because it's easy to beat a team that can't get anything going for themselves because you're playing so well and because you're imposing that kind of pressure and tempo around the map. But if St. Clair come out and take the first hit, really get a decent lead on you in this hard point, my next question is, how do Wichita State look to respond in that situation?
I mean, realistically, all it's going to come down to is being able to take each gunfight by gunfight and just play it by ear. You know, every start to a series, every start to a comeback always has to start with very small, minute wins. For Wichita State, they're on the control. That's exactly what happens. You win a few key gunfights early on in those first few rounds. You force St. Clair to have pressure on themselves, especially on that first offensive hit where they were not able to get into the restaurant. They knew they wanted to go over towards the B site first. Once they shut that down, took a few lives off the board. St. Clair were playing from the back foot initially already. That's what they need to start doing and applying that same pressure in the early stages of the hard point, because that's what was able to get them to the game 5 in the previous series they played against OTSU just on Wednesday a few short days ago. If you're able to go ahead, overwhelm St. Clair, which you've already proven that you're able to do by putting them in chaotic situations and controlling the map in the way that you want it to be played, that is the first and only step that you're going to be able to take going forward against the St. Clair team, who are still hungry to close out this series. Again, Cash, we talked about it. It was, okay, well, if you take the search and destroy, cool beans, whatever. But right before we went into that control, the point that I made was, if you don't take a 3 here, and at least force a map 4, I can no longer talk to you and put you in a conversation about being a Neslo team. You haven't proven to me that you can do either of those two things, take search and destroy or control reliably. Now that they've been able to take a map off of St. Clair in the last 2 matchups they had against them in the last, I don't know, say week and a half, this shows to me that they have been able to not only adapt to how St. Clair are going to play the map, but they've done their homework and studied on how they need to be able to beat them, and they took it to them in that control with the backs against the wall. We always say this, a team with nothing, you know, play for, it's the scariest team ever because they have nothing to lose. And right now, Wichita State have absolutely nothing to lose. It's either they were going to beat St. Clair or go to the LCQ, and everybody thought they were going to be in the LCQ anyways. And why not make yourself the underdog Cinderella story during March Madness? This could be the map that forces us to think differently about St. Clair.
Absolutely the case, and force us to think differently about Wichita State too. Again, hardpoint is their statistically weakest mode, so it's one that if they can come out and, you know, in some way take this hotel hardpoint, suddenly you're wondering, you know, what does map 5 even bring? But again, that's such a long way away. As you said, the best way to take this hard point, if you are Wichita State, gunfight by gunfight, rotation by rotation, do the things right that they did at the start of the Fortress, right? Those things crumbled. Again, we don't know if it was some monster comeback out of St. Clair where it was 230 to 84 and they came back straight away, or if it came down to 1 rotation. We don't quite have that intel, but at least what we know, St. Clair is a team that even if they start in a hole like they did in the Fortress, right? They were down 30, 40, 50 points going into P4. This is one where they can find life. They have great resilience when pushed the distance. Wichita State are going to have to play them tooth and nail. Every single rotation is going to be a battle. Every single gunfight, the exact same thing. And again, if they play like they did the control, I mean, surely you think they would come out on top. It's just everything has to go together for them. Do you best to St. Clair that, again, doesn't try to make that same mistake twice.
For St. Clair all year, I mean, it's been rainbows and sunshine when you're talking about all the series that they've played. All of a sudden, Wichita State comes across, a formidable challenger enters the arena, and all of a sudden we're talking about the weak points of St. Clair now, opposed to them just being, hey, they're the best team right now in collegiate COD for NACE, barring, of course, the Northwood conversation. But you know, when you get a team that forced us to start talking about their weak spots, when you start saying, hey, this is what St. Clair needs to change in the series to be better and to be able to take a respawn, that's when we start talking about you in a different light. And for Wichita State, you did that last week in a search and destroy. You've done it this week in a control, and you're slowly but surely building up your confidence as a roster to be able to take on the Titans inside of the NACE Star League Varsity Premier Division. So Big Peach will hop down. Frenzy there for another trade. St. Clair did get the first 15 15 seconds in the hill. And of course, you have Priestley here out on an early rotation for P2, but everybody in the middle of the map for Wichita State still trying to get themselves some map residence. And over towards the bar side of things, Peach will walk away with a 1-versus-1 gunfight off screen, and that will allow Wichita State to have an inline to the backside spawns for P2.
Still not close yet, but Pete taking that gunfight, that should be spawns in the back for Wichita State. Doing the work you need to in the final 10 seconds. Would be hard to get a flip out unless you all went 4 down, but look at the spread that they have. Look at how much of the map they have controlled on this right-hand side. The hill looks to pop. They're going to be in it. Just down 7 points. Can they hold off this first wave?
Class gets cut down, Relay starting to make his way forward, but again, Wichita State, the first team out on a rotation, very similar to what we saw in the open stages of that first the first Fortress, dude, why can I not speak today? Holy, dude, I'm a caster, man. Hey, they flew in, Class in the back line, gonna be able to find Brandon. Priestley tries to go ahead and snap to Frenzy, will be good for a kill, hops back up, snakes the head glitch, and it's so many players here, he's able to snap to the second, somehow still alive, and Big Peach and Jake will finally be able to tag team him together to cut him down, but that gave St. Clair just enough time to allow the reinforcement straightforward. Class going to be forced to rotate. 25 seconds of beautiful scrap time going to go to St. Clair.
And St. Clair waltzed into that point with 3 gunfights. Again, sure, it wasn't a waltz. You had to take 3 gunfights to get in, but they made it look so easy the way they were all able to know where the gunfights were they wanted to take. They get 40 seconds of time there where Wichita State were poised and set up to really get a lion's share of time. Now you feel a little bit more of that pressure to have to respond in a big way on P3. They clean everyone out, get everyone set up where they need to, and now can look to set themselves up for a big hold here. It all starts in Restaurant.
Frenzy hops back down. Doesn't realize that Priestley will be on a flank there through Wine. And once again, St. Clair trying to bully their way in through the front doors. Big Peach will be privy to it this time, though, as Brandon starts to make his way forward. Backline, Jake, 1-versus-1 goes his way, but Big Peach's trophy system will be able to pop up from the dead and cut down Brandon. That's 4 down, but St. Clair are going to have those close spawns in the middle of the map. Blaze, 5-5 here to start this hard point. As he gets a couple of stuns. Nades through the doorway. Back a few players off for the time being. St. Clair now will go ahead and find their way jumping into the point. Blaze and Relays will up for 2. This Class is still going to be here, trying to go ahead and find his way back in for the last 20 seconds of scrap time. It will be Wichita State who will give themselves a nice lead here as St. Clair once again spawning all the way across the map. Priestley the only one here to try and make some noise on the rotation.
Going to try to pick and choose his timing, but with that stun connecting, it's going to be a challenging gunfight to take. Frenzy will combine for it. Brandon, quick on the trade. You have pressure. You have presence here if you are St. Clair, but Jake shooting lasers right now, backing down everyone. Class will combine to get that kill cleaned up, and you've won another rotation for Wichita State. That's very less the problem for them, more so not letting St. Clair get in that first 30 seconds. At least that's what we saw at the beginning of the Fortress hardpoint that we got a little bit of earlier. This was about the scoreline as well when we went into P4, so Wichita State, very similar entrance to this map. We'll see what they're able to do in the mid to late portions of things. St. Clair look to try to get in here. Nice little bunny hop, but Frenzy combines for 2. Relays does get in, though, and this hill still up for grabs. 30 seconds on the board.
And the beautiful thing about that, though, is that cut St. Clair's defenses down that they had for reinforcements, and all of a sudden, Wichita State, what was looking like a complete shutdown there and a break-in from St. Clair, this should net you the scrap time here, and especially that 1-versus-1 from Jake. This will force everything back over towards the restaurant. Player number 7A, that's Brandon and Priestley, who are set up in the restaurant now, have a huge 1-versus-1 gunfight, and Big Peach has a tall task. He's able to find the first kill. Blaze now going to be there for reinforcements, but an off-screen engagement goes the way of Priestley, and that's going to give St. Clair the in here for the first at least 10 seconds of the hill. Break starting to make its way forward, though. Jake on 4 in a row. Class and Peach also trying to get back around the point. A beautiful pinch now starting to formulate here for the side of Wichita State, but as Relays and Priestley are able to find 2, it's a double back there from Class, who has been oh so good inside of the series so far. All 4 down and another break for the Wichita State Shockers.
The submachine guns for Wichita State, I mean, though Frenzy is only at 8 and 12, again, the way they can get into flow and synchrony around the map is something really to behold. Class out to 11 and 8, like you said. He opens up with 2, Frenzy with the back 2, and now Pinstripe kill feed comes in again. A team kill as well is going to favor Wichita State as they look to hold on, but St. Clair with just enough numbers here. We're setting our sights on a P6 rotation. Again, one where St. Clair could have battled back into this one, but back 20, they're just going to cross that 100-point mark. You still have a 40-second advantage going into this new hill.
There's a man advantage over for Wichita State, too. They have more rotations, or excuse me, more reinforcements on the rotations. As you see Class and Frenzy trying to go ahead, scramble around the hill. It's a very discombobulated hit right now. Class is just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. That rock being, well, player number 6 relays that he cuts down, and the hard place being Brandon on the opposite side, still holding down the head glitch here for P6. Nobody willing to touch things just yet. St. Clair will finally be the first team in. A contestant here, I can smell it coming in from the distance, and as the shots on the Frenzy weren't good enough, Big Peach can start to make his way forward as he's able to cut down the first with the Scar in hand. He looks to snap to the second on the back of the bus, and as that Van head glitch won't do much justice here for relays, he'll be weakened up. Peach will walk away with another kill, and it's the Wichita State Shockers once again on top with another gorgeous break.
Couple kills go to St. Clair, but as you said, Wichita State with the numbers, with the presence here to keep this kill contested, to not let St. Clair get close, and again out to a full 60 lead, which means St. Clair gonna need a full 60 to get back into this one if they can't find a way to break into these hills at some point. Going back to P1, it'll play scrappy. St. Clair, they usually can find a way to get a decent amount of time on these P1s, but again, with 3-4 in the feed and not having much mid-map control, this is going to be an uphill battle the rest of the way.
Boo Honey, he's home. Blaze on the staircase. At least is able to find one on top of that catwalk. For St. Clair getting in the middle of the map. 3 kills go their way. Jake not going to be able to find anything just yet. Forced to back off for a moment, but the reinforcements close as Wichita State spawns in the restaurant and once again is able to recontrol the middle of the map. A 70-point advantage to the Shockers now. St. Clair is in the blender. It has been a rabbit hole of a series. After those first 2 maps, we said, hey, I don't know if Wichita State's going to be able to have what it takes to be able to come back in the series. I said if I was a betting man, I would have taken St. Clair in the control. Wichita State has proven me wrong every single time that I have doubted them, and for good reason. They are playing lights out hardpoint right now with a 70-point advantage. Sure, St. Clair do have the rotations in the last 20 seconds of scrap time, but Wichita State, all it's going to take is one more gorgeous break, and you could be staring down the barrel of a map 4 victory.
This rotation, I think it's going to be so critical because, again, P3 is going to be a big one as well, whoever wins rotation, but St. Clair, if they want to stay alive in this, need to find a bit of time. If you let Wichita State get in anywhere before the 30-second mark, as Brandon lines up a nice 2-piece, it's going to be something where Wichita State can pick and choose their time from here on out. You let them get over that 200-point mark, and suddenly things are looking much scarier. St. Clair doing everything they can to tie this one up, going into P3, giving themselves the best chance possible. But 2 kills from the front, 2 kills in response. St. Clair, they're holding on.
40 seconds left of precious time here. On the back end of P2, Brandon, the first one to fall. Frenzy was able to find one. Big Peach, yet again, has just been so consistent with these entry picks, and he plays peek around the rosy as he's able to find not only one, but a second with the help of Class. Now on the back staircase. Class trying to use the head glitch to his advantage. Blaze is going to be there. Brandon now pops himself up, and as St. Clair has broken in for the last 20 seconds of time, this is going to be a dangerously close hardpoint on the rotation back over towards Kitchen, where St. Clair were able to break in early last time through.
And you have players still spawning out. If you're Wichita State, so the numbers advantage not going to go your way. Maybe a 3v3 when things are all said and done. Jake will open up the first to slow down this push, but he's definitely playing these back lines, and Priestley going to get the better of him. Released, opens up from the front. Also, St. Clair Saints looking to try to get in this one, looking to try to get themselves a lead where possible. Wichita State not going down without a fight.
Flash tries to snap back to make it 3, but was able to get 2, and that might have just enough done it, because Wichita State is still able to hold on here. Jake, Peach, doubled together. St. Clair still on the outside looking in, but in from behind. Class is going to have a 1 versus 1 versus a player up and towards the top off screen in the restaurant, as Big Peach is trying to handle his business here inside of the hill. Contestant still in. Class laying down. Priestley trying to snake his way to yet another kill, but Class has just been so good, and he's a force to be reckoned with here yet again. Blaze in with help, and now for the back line, another Vaznev, and a Scar will be picked up to go ahead and give Class the advantage. Another 15 seconds of scrap time, basically give them 20. Wichita State dangerously close to being able to take map 4. St. Clair have the rotation over to the bar, though.
They need a big hold here. Plain and simple, Wichita State has bullied you out on nearly every rotation on this map. If you're relying on the break for the entirety of a hard point, things aren't going to go your way when you're relying on the ability to get into a hill. Wichita State have held the line time and time again. You need a big answer here. You can't let Wichita State into this one. And look, Frenzy through the front lines trying to waltz in here. But again, they put themselves in such great positions to trade. They buy just enough time for the teammates to come up off spawn and give a helping hand. Now the hill gets scrappy. Now Wichita State finds an opening in. 20 seconds away from a win.
37 seconds left on the hill. Plenty of time to get the job done here. And the gunfights keep going their way. However, it's a 3-1 trade that St. Clair is able to break in with. We said it the last time through when they played OTSU. It had to be perfect hard point on here on out. And right now, St. Clair This is the opportunity to show your prowess that you have inside of Hardpoint in the respawn mode in general. Class, Semtex, team kill onto Priestley, and now all of a sudden Brandon has fallen. Still enough time here to get the final tick, and if you're player number 5 in Blaze, you're the last line of defenses here because the rotation has to be on. Priestley there, gunfight still being won. The contestant just might have well at least saved them over towards the next hill, and as player number 3 in Frenzy will fall, St. Clair are there. They can hold down the time here. If they're able to get a full 60, the game could be theirs.
A pinch plan developing through the left and right north portions of the map. Head on a swivel. Where are these gunfights coming from? Brandon snapbacks to Freezer's able to find one, so things trade even for now. But Class still through the back lines. You can't let him wreak havoc as the subs combine. Jake able to strike. 2 seconds left. Wichita State, I mean, to come in to take a hard point, let alone a control off of St. Clair. Unreal.
We thought it was 2-0 and done and dusted. We thought the 3-0 and the control was coming. Then we said, you know what? Well, we'll go to a hard point and St. Clair will end it there. Wichita State, I'm not gonna lie, I'm hot and heavy right now. Dude, my mouth agape. And even after a 17 and 31 performance out of Frenzy and what seems to be an outslaying performance here by St. Clair, the important kills went to the Shockers. The map was theirs, the control was theirs, everything going within their rights on that hotel hardpoint. And my golly, Miss Molly, we're going to a game 5. Rev up those fryers. I'm hungry. I don't know what the hell that was, dude. I need to sleep. I need to sleep, dude. Dude, that was so cringe. Oh my god.
And on that note, we'll send things to a quick break. And when we get back, man, game 5, St. Clair, Wichita State. I mean, history potentially being written in this one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
5 between Wichita State and the St. Clair Saints. I did not think I would be uttering those words today. Cash, I know that we tried to build a story up for Wichita State in this series. That was because we wanted to have a good narrative going forward, and we truly did want to see a Game 5. Did I think that was going to happen? Really not a shot in hell. But now we're here, and I don't really know what to think. I might need a comfort blanket and some hot cocoa because things are shaking up here in the NA Star League scene, and one of these two teams will be guaranteed a playoff spot. We thought it was going to be St. Clair. Wichita State, though, credit where credit is due. They were not a respawn team coming into this series, and right now they're seeming like it, which is by far and away the strangest sentence I think I've said all night.
Absolutely. So when we go to a Game 5... Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one that now suddenly, instead of the series goes on, you'd have to favor Wichita State given how good they've been in the search. Well, they get bodied in map 2 and come out in 1-2 respawns. Like you said, the series could not be more backwards to what we had originally thought. So now going into this Game 5, I would love for our sanity, for the viewer sanity, I'd love to be confident in saying this team's going to take it. Coming in tonight, I would have said, if you would have said it's going to a Game 5, I'd have been like, Wichita State, find a way to pull it off. Sure, I still have hope of that here, but again, given what we saw in map 2, suddenly you're scratching your head saying, okay, we're gonna have to see some changes from map 2. Again, they're finding kills, they're flowing well around the map, but in the search and destroy, they were having problems with first bloods, they were having problems closing out man advantage situations. This is something that we have to see improved in this fortress for them to be able to take. Again, both teams can take it. Basically what I'm getting at is I have no actual idea. Just throw away the stats, throw away everything we have on paper. This one's a coin toss.
Yeah, absolutely, in the purest sense of it. Wichita State been a great S&D team all year. St. Clair, maybe not their strongest suit, but now it might need to be their saving grace if they want to keep themselves out of the LCQ, which would be a wild ending to just the first match here on this Sunday of the championships of our conferences. Cash, it has been a wild series so far. I don't really think anybody else could peg it as anything different. What does St. Clair need to do? I didn't think I'd be asking you this. What does St. Clair need to do here to make sure that they're able to stay alive and complete the shutdown of the reverse sweep?
Yeah, I think it's doing what they capitalized on so well in the hotel. They played with good map control. They were able to get first bloods effectively. And again, had the clutch gene in map 2. You had called it out several rounds where they have the man disadvantage. A 2v4, we saw them map to the B site and they were able to clutch up and take the win. I mean, different situations like that. So, of course, the clutch gene, always something you'd like to have. You never want to get it, but you'd like to have it in the back pocket. We know that St. Clair do in the search and destroy. We've seen it tonight. But, again, dominating that first blood column is a good way to start because we've seen they can battle back from a man disadvantage. How well do they fare with that man advantage? And, well, when they were getting first bloods, they were absolutely winning rounds.
St. Clair has not been to a Game 5 all year long. The only map they had dropped thus far was a search and destroy in the regular season against Wichita State in the final week. This is the first time we have seen the side of St. Clair have any sort of blood coming from them in any other game mode besides the search and destroy, and now they have lost a map in every single game mode here inside of Modern Warfare 2 for the NA Star League season. Here in a Game 5, the last time Wichita State was taken to a Game 5, they were able to take that series. They walked away from it, and that is how they found themselves here against the St. Clair Saints. It was a bounce back in the Game 4. Now they find themselves in the scenario where they can take down Cash, the Titan of the NA Star League here this year. The talk of the town, the team that everybody was hyping up as this rebranded team that was ready to bounce back from second place last year. This just might be the side of St. Clair's kryptonite, and if it is, they've got one map to shut all those accusations down.
Most definitely, and let's just to make things even spicier, let's talk about if St. Clair do lose this Game 5. Again, I think the sentence would be uttered. If they do lose this Game 5, they will be battling through LCQ, which is mind-blowing for the last couple of playoff spots. So much on the line. If it wasn't high stakes before the matchup, now that we are here in this Game 5 situation, I mean, buckle up, we are in for a ride.
Started on Fortress, will end on Fortress. First Blood not going to go to Clash just yet. He will be stun checked out. As Blaze has the sniper, he's looking for Jake. An egregious little snake there around the corner. Won't be able to spot him out just yet. Oh, peekaboo, the head's there, but won't be able to walk away with a gunfight win. 1-1 trade back and forth. 3-3 we go. And with 58 seconds left here in the round, Brandon's able to make a nice little play around the corner to force their way onto the bomb site. The bomb should be able to go down here today for free.
Peach, horrified of that window. Hasn't taken his eyes off of it the entire round now. Gonna start to shimmy around and try to reinforce his teammate over at Gallows, and Jake's able to find a kill, gonna get back down immediately. So how quickly can Peach get in position to find this kill? Answer, in a moment's notice. Now a 1v2 bomb, gonna have to try to go down. If there's a hero to get you off to a good game 5 start, Priestley's gonna be your guy.
Final hurrah here for Priestley in this season of collegiate Call of Duty. Bomb gonna go down here. Peach, Jake trying to get their first foot forward as Priestley backs all the way off to the backside staircase. He's gonna be looking for Peach and Jake in the separate doorways as they're gonna try and tandem here to get inside the point. Dead silence to work with here for Priestley as he starts to take a different approach, maybe a wrap around angle all the way back in towards the top of Art. And as the bomb defuse is starting to come through from Peach, here comes the push. Jake looking in the back line. He needs to go. And as he gets off the bomb, oh my god! Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Dude, it's the first round. I know you're happy. I know you're excited, but like, come on.
I don't. You know what? I'm gonna keep it a $150. I haven't seen many people in the collegiate scene not pay for that. That's all I'm gonna say. Woo! We'll find out though. Yeah, no. In general, I mean, you know, every so often, right? Of course, you're pros. You hope you're able to back it up. We're a couple steps from that, so we'll see. It's just it's fun. It's a fun time. This just adds to the, like you said, to the rivalry, to the storylines, to the ability that these teams kind of can go toe to toe with one another. You called it a potential kryptonite for St. Clair. I mean, this is the only team they've dropped maps to, and well, the entire season. So yeah, just add a little more spice to the pod and see where that gets us.
Well, you know what they say: shot bodies lead to dead hobbies. Hopefully, St. Clair are able to best that fate and be able to walk away out on top. Priestley, first gunfight goes his way. Jake, Class traded out immediately, and as Big Peach falls, St. Clair will once again regain control of the man advantage in the round here. 3 versus 2. Minute left to work with. Bomb worked its way in towards Nilart. Out over towards that A bomb site. Brandon has made his way all the way back and across. And all of a sudden, Class has found his way forward for a kill there on the Blaze. He went unchecked. At least it's traded out, but now it's Frenzy alive in a 1v2.
And unfortunately, he's got to go all the way to open and scoop that bomb. You know, St. Clair aren't going to give it up, even though Relays backs down just a hair. But Brandon should see this cross. That will be the information. So Relays back in position. Again, 35 seconds left, but picking up this bomb, not going to be a good time.
MTech stuns out from either tank. As Frenzy looks to make his jump back around the corner. Bomb not going to be picked up in time. And St. Clair will walk away with a gunfight win.
Oh, man. That 1-1. Draw things up evenly. I mean, it feels like... Oh... Okay.
There.
Little 360 action.
Doing.
But I mean, this is I'm not trying to wish away this map at all, but I want it to be round 11 so we can see who wins. I just, you know, I'm getting antsy just sitting through this, but it's been good so far. Again, just to even note, right? Peach and I think one of the subs, whether it be, I think it was Class. I dropped just 1 kill in the last search, so, I mean, again, trying to get off that better start. Class, of course, getting in the mix early on. And St. Clair offensively. No team with really a dominant offensive round win. See what they can do here on either side. Blaze trying to get on the board as well, but it's a standard setup. Leaning towards this A site. I'm really interested to see who tries to get through on a flank first. Brandon will sniff out Frenzy, so that'll be shut down for now.
It goes the way of St. Clair. Frenzy's off to a donut alert start. Hasn't been much success here on either side early on in the round here. Priestley forced to back down. Not going to be able to challenge the gunfight. 32 HP and his life still in his hands. Clock continues to wind down here as Relays is able to find Big Peach on the rest of the map. 3 versus 2. Bomb starting to go down at A. Jake will fall. Blaze with the sniper is able to find 1. And now Class can start to march his way onto the point. Player in the back line. Beautiful movement there is able to snap for 1, but the turnaround, a quick pop up. St. Clair will find themselves 2 quick rounds in a row, and they're the first team to get an offense on the board.
Things starting to come together. Coordination. Bait and switches. Starting to see a bit more of it leaning the side of St. Clair, Wichita State. Gonna see if they can respond with their first offensive round win as well. You would hate to go down a 2-round deficit in a game 5 situation like this. Frenzy hoping to get on the board sooner than later. And at least on a 4 spree, something definitely to make notice. He's been very active around the map in this game 5. It's quick over towards this A site. St. Clair there just as quickly as well, and Blaze with the sniper gonna get back down.
Eyes on Semtex, I might add. They were directly at the wall, but now can reassess the situation, try to take it from a different angle. Class and Art looking to get himself some real estate on the map. As Brandon is now just watching the staircase with a Vaznev in hand. Up to Wichita State to make the first move here on offense. They have to go into the hands of St. Clair here. Neither team really willing to give up anything on the map just yet. Defense playing passive. Wichita State forcing their 25% of the map over on the left portion of the minimap. You can see where they're just playing oh so passively. As Class gets spotted out over towards the A site, Semtex might get placed in the perfect manner. As this bomb starts to make its way down, we'll actually get off it for just a moment, try to refigure out where he wants to get that plant down. With a 45-second timer now, it's St. Clair who have to be on the offensive.
Looking at Frenzy. There it is to finally get on the board. A great kill, side door art. Now gonna slow down the St. Clair push. Jake connects with the sniper as well. A 4v2. We've seen it done before, but not with the bomb defusal working against you. St. Clair gonna have to work this one sooner than later. Brandon will pick up the sniper and try to connect, but again, I don't think they'll have enough time given this life count.
Oh.
Last 2 kills come in cleanly, and Wichita State said they need to respond offensively. They do just that. We're tied back up at 2-2.
Yeah, big props to Jake there with the sniper in that round. Maybe didn't find the first blood. Frenzy was able to do that, but being able to play over the top of his teammate, watch over while he gets the bomb down, that's also important on a map, specifically a map like Fortress, where, you know, one wayward push goes the opposite side's way and you're completely thrown in the blender for a loop. And so he's getting to go ahead and find himself double there on the back lines. Or St. Clair once again trying to rethink their strategies here on offense. Both teams being able to win a couple of rounds here straight. It's been a handshake back and forth, 2-2 split here in the search and destroy. And as this bomb starts to make its way, what looks to be like a preliminary push over towards the B site might make its way back as Wichita State realizes that they have the cross on the map.
This bit cut so hard to break down. Trying to find a pick, trying to find an angle, but as you said, the Shockers have it locked down. They're going to go back and clear this out anyway, but Blaze will catch them. Bottom maps. And what looked like a maybe shutdown B push, you get a kill out of it anyway, so no matter where you look to take the bomb, at least you've got that first blood advantage. Unfortunately, you don't know how far pushed up A they are. You're slow playing this wrap back. 45 seconds on the clock. You need to try to work this wrap.
And the problem is Class is also looking over for an incredibly quick push over towards that B site as well. Might have been able to spot out player number 4 on Blaze for just a moment. Jake was waiting with the sniper. That's what I was concerned about there for St. Clair. If you walk back over towards A, you have to directly fight against Jake and the sniper that he's been so proficient with here inside of the search and destroy. Brandon now starting to make his way forward. Once again, a 2 versus 3 here for St. Clair. Jake backs off on the staircase. He's got some help along the way from reinforcements in his backside. Wichita State, they're the first team to take 2 straight rounds, putting themselves up 3-2 over the St. Clair Saints, and once again reclaiming the lead in the search and destroy.
So long as Jake is being effective with that sniper, expected to stay out. Finds 2 in the round. Big round out of Wichita State. Like you said, to take those 2 straight to give themselves the advantage. And this one, as we get closer and closer to the first team finding 6 rounds in this search and destroy. Jake 6-3, Class 6-3. And they're off to an electric start in this search and destroy. St. Clair, no one.
Oh my.
These were bad performances, but oh man.
This is the adjustment from St. Clair. Look at how much aggression they have started to play with out on towards the A site. Now Jake, the one who's been, again, that big proficient player with the sniper, cut down immediately. And that is a huge slaying prowess already off the board here for Wichita State. Frenzy, he got to kill 1 round to give him a first blood, but hasn't been able to really recuperate himself ever since that point. Still at 1-4, looking for another kill here in this round. He will get cut down by Brandon, leaving things to Class left alive in a 1 versus 4. Bomb in hand, he can make it work if he can isolate a few one-on-one gunfights. But again, St. Clair is a very disciplined team. I'd find it very hard to believe if they lost this.
Clap's coming in. Trying to find this kill, bleeding out some of the clock. Class pick an angle and try to find a kill. It'll be Blaze with the pistol. Put in the final shots. All tied up here at 3. We are halfway through the search and destroy. And again, just to hit one more time what's on the line, this would be not only St. Clair going to the LCQ if they lose this one, but their first series loss of the whole season. Wichita State would be locked for a playoff spot. Either team, whoever ends up winning this, but again, talking from the sense of upsets, talking from the lens of what we hadn't expected coming into this one. So much on the line for these teams going into this. St. Clair trying to shut down the reverse sweep, Wichita State trying to pull off the impossible here in this one.
Oh, Blaze opens up yet again with the sniper. That's back-to-back rounds where Blaze has been able to find utility with the sniper in hand. Frenzy, though, fortunately for Wichita State, will be able to double back for himself. Finds an equalizing trade there onto the sniper that was able to pick the first player from Wichita State off the board. And as Relays is trying to get out with his life, Frenzy will find yet his second kill in the round. And this is going to give Wichita State the man advantage to work with, as the bomb once again for St. Clair trapped in their spawn side. They have no avenue over towards A, and it's going to be a damn hard gunfight going to B.
Especially because you have Frenzy still playing top maps. What kind of timing do you get? I think you saw the barrel of Brandon's gun. Priestley, though, from top aren't going to connect for the kill. This should solidify the cross. Priestley probably going to try to dolphin dive here with Brandon looking over at the sniper. Oh, what can you find? 1v1 for the ages, and Brandon takes it through the hay.
Through the haystack, he'll be able to walk away with the kill. They both get through the double doors while Class is trying to chase on the backside in. Dead Silence was invested, popped already in the round. He's going to be loud as hell walking through the doorway, but he's going to get spotted out there. Semtex not going to be able to connect. Weakens one up with the stun there on the top, is able to check for the information on where that player is, but such a difficult gunfight to be able to take, not even on that first banister, but of course over towards the top of the opposite side of the map too. So 4-3 up now. St. Clair give themselves a lead, a bit of a cushion here against Wichita State, but an offensive round where it didn't seem like they were going to be able to have much success over towards the B bomb site works out in their favor. They get it down and now have a 4-3 advantage.
Another main disadvantage situation that they find a way to pull off, and their mid-round adjustments are so clutch. They find the kill, they find a couple of kills making their way over there. Again, Brandon with that snipe, a huge play, and that's what softened things up and secures their push towards B. And from there, I mean, they just have a 2v1, able to close things out. Not the same aggression defensively this go around for St. Clair that we saw last time, playing a bit more passive, seeing if Wichita State tries to counter with aggression of their own, but no dice. Both teams playing it slow here, apart from Priestley and Top Art.
This is twice here on defense where they just get so aggressive, and Wichita State really has no counter for it. However, as I say that, Frenzy, who started out slow, once again just making the big plays and getting huge kills when it matters the most. Jake finds Priestley. 2 versus 4. We've seen St. Clair be able to win a plethora of these, especially in map 2 on the hotel search and destroy. But now as Relays is able to find one, he isolated a 1 versus 1 gunfight. Nobody was there for a quick trade. The bomb's still in the hands of Class for the moment. They need to get that down over towards A, and Blaze still has a sniper out. One's going to hop across. Frenzy going to be spotted back over towards the left. Wallbang shot won't connect. Be 45 seconds on a retake over at B. Give me A.
Released. In and around Top Art, trying to see through the back lines, trying to kill Jake off back truck before he can penetrate his teammate Blaze, but love to have a better gun in this situation. To feel more aggressive on the push, and Relays knows someone's got to be back here. What kind of timing does he play? No Deddy at all, making all kinds of noise.
He drops down. You see Jake just trying to hold an angle. Finally, will be able to walk away with it, or so I thought. Snap gonna be there. Blaze is able to challenge up for again. 1 versus 2. Class on the bomb. Player in the right side corner. Flinch not going to be able to make the shot connect, and Wichita State will tie up the search and destroy yet again. 4-4 we go. As even of a search and destroy as you could get at this point. Fortress S&D has not disappointed thus far. This has been a game 5 of the ages.
You said it. Frenzy had a slow start, now starting to pick things up. Again, this is kind of the ebb and flow of searches where maybe a couple players get off to a hot start. They start to slow down. Peach has been fairly quiet since the opening round where he was able to get a couple of kills on the board. Class slowing down as well. Jake and Frenzy starting to take things over, and the same thing being said for Wichita State. Blaze, you're wondering how many more rounds do you keep the sniper out? Until things are rendered ineffective. Priestley slowing down also. Who is going to turn up here at the tail end of things for their team?
Wichita State haven't gotten aggressive out of the double doors on either of the side of the arches. Is Brandon going to throw a little stun check around the corner? We'll realize nobody's on the site just yet. They're going to be tossed onto the site and backed everybody off from St. Clair, but it's still Brandon sitting in the corner, and Jake will open things up with the first blood. That is a huge kill on the map. That gives Wichita State everything they need to know and more. However, the bomb has gotten down, and Brandon's able to trade things out. Class there for a trade immediately after the fact. 3 versus 2. Wichita State trying to force their way forward, and you have Relays trying to play for an angle here. Scar up close will walk away with a 1v1. 2v2. Class tries to challenge. It's Relays there again, and now it's Jake left alive with a sniper in a 1 versus 2. Spots him in the back line. Shot connects. Will he realize that a player is now flanking all the way back through the double door side of things? Relays has the information. The bomb is in his favor, and the shots are going to be there. St. Clair, the first team to get themselves the match point.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the fact that Jake connects that sniper, it just didn't look to play for the read, had the right idea. Opts to hop the bomb instead. Relays finds 3 in the round to clutch up. 9 and 5 after all is said and done. And as you said, they put themselves series point Up 5-4, Wichita State are going to need 2 straight in order to take it.
We've seen them ice up in every situation beforehand, whether it's taking 2 rounds to give them an advantage, tying up the game when they're down by a significant margin. It all has to start with a nice little first blood. And if it doesn't, things can spiral quickly out of control here, especially on an offensive push. Classes down below and towards the bottom of Art. You can see Wichita State playing as passive as ever. You know Jake's going to be in the back line with the sniper out. Priestley tries to throw a shoulder to challenge out, maybe get some information. No one's been spotted just yet, but Jake is just waiting so patiently for Blaz to show his head. When he does, you can bet that sniper trigger will be pulled.
Slow and passive. You said Wichita State, they don't want to give up this first blood. They don't
There it is.
want things to go awry. They're going to trust Jake to find the first kill for him, and he does. 4-3 advantage, but I mean, again, the last 2 rounds, St. Clair have won in the man disadvantage, so I can't count them out in a 3v4, but oh, nearly connects for the second. Semtech's not going to connect, shots ringing out, still no push out of Wichita State to try to get over towards A, and you let Priestley sit close right outside of this Art door.
You could feel the bullet graze directly by the head of Brandon, who was trying to push his way forward, but now Priestley will be cut down. 20 seconds left here in the round. Brandon's making his way forward up the map. The second player in Art will get cut down. Frenzy, dead. Now it's a 3 versus 2. 45 seconds left and a renewed clock now for Wichita State here on the defensive side. Relays was able to find another kill onto Jake, and that's the back line cut down. That's your sniper. That's your clutch player all cut out of position, and now Peach on the staircase will get cut down. 1 versus 2. Class has to go massive. He's just laying down, waiting for the push to come through. They have no idea where he is. He's able to line up the first, snaps to the second, and Class will clutch up to force the round 11.
School is in session, everyone. Talk about perfect timing, perfect patience. I don't know that you could have found better timing on that. Shoots both in the side. A masterclass being put on here between both of these teams. We're going to a round 11. This round decides it all.
1 round. Will St. Clair stay undefeated? Will they be able to reach the playoffs without an LCQ appearance and keep their #1 seed aspirations alive? Will Wichita State be able to overthrow St. Clair in a season that has been all the talk of the town for a Saints Griff diff? It all comes down to this. Bomb in the hand of Class once again. Same offensive setup they have here. Jake trying to snipe over the top, and St. Clair, they do not want to get aggressive like they did the last time through. If you allow yourself to get picked off by the sniper of Jake again, that's just poor adjusting to the map and things that are not going to go your way time after time again. It's the definition of insanity as Class pops dead silence to move forward.
St. Clair, now it's their turn to play passive. Both teams don't want to give up this first blood. Blaze doing everything he can to clear out top Art. The time working against Wichita State. They're gonna have to get this bomb down. They're gonna have to make a move. Deddy being popped all around the map. Brandon trying to make his play.
Nobody's willing to peek Jake again. Good adjustment made here by St. Clair. They're starting to push over towards that bottom south side of the map. And Class is just trapped here inside of Art. Nobody willing to move out just yet. They don't know where the side of St. Clair are, but Big Peach will pop too, and all of a sudden, the flank route, the pinch that they were trying to create for themselves, shut down. Once again, St. Clair left alive in a 2 versus 4, but it's Brandon who's there to find one. Needs to snap back around the left side corner. The bomb not down just yet. 17 seconds on the clock, and this is allowing Priestley to get in position. He might be able to find 2 here. He's able to find the shots on the Peach. He cuts it down. Jake in the back line. Can't get him with the sniper, and now Frenzy left alive. 1 versus 2. Same clutch spot. Brandon through the doorway. Shot's not going to be able to ring true, and there it is. Priestley, 3 kills. Round 11. The Iceman clutches up, and St. Clair, they'll stay undefeated, and they'll have the #1 seed going into the playoffs.
They shoot down every accusation, and they keep the Griff diff alive. Game 5, round 11, their first of the season, and they walk out on top. I mean, what a way. If anyone to ice up and go big for the team, it is Priestley there at the tail end of things. Wichita State did everything in their power to push the series to distance, and boy did they. I mean, they were 1 round away from taking it. I mean, props to them. First of all, before we dive too deep into St. Clair, what they were able to do in that last round, really, I mean, Wichita State doing what no other team has been able to do the entire season, taking their only 3 maps off of them. Heartbreaking fashion to lose it. Peach finds 2 on the flank. You think that's enough, and it simply isn't. It was their bane of existence in map 2. It continued to be their pain point here, losing man advantage situations. It was a 4v2 with bomb down. I mean, I'm
gotta
not
win
even
those.
on Wichita State, and I'm hurting after that. You have to win them. You have to win them. But again, that's just, you can never count St. Clair out.
Yeah.
And who knows, did they get complacent in that camp and say, oh, we've got it? Did again, St. Clair just do St. Clair things and then pull off a crazy, near unwinnable situation that maybe only St. Clair could pull off? I don't know. But if I'm Wichita State, I'm reeling after that one. You had St. Clair on the ropes. You had a 4v2 with bomb down. What more can you say, man?
Dude, I'm just that is shocking to say the very least. Wow. I'll say this. Tip it to Priestley. Those 3 kills were crazy. But Brandon being able to find that first kill out of the double doors to then draw all of the attention away from the flank and back over to the bomb site, that was probably the biggest kill in the round. And of course that allows Priestley to slip into the back lines, get the double kill, and then he walks away with the third, who was playing in the same clutch spot. But holy hell, dude. Oh my God. Wichita State, dude, you're dangerous. They are dangerous when they come to play. A few things go differently in that search and destroy. Maybe you win a few more of your situations where you have a man advantage, and we start talking about, you know, Wichita State being an automatic lock for the playoffs. But holy dude. Oh, all right, we're gonna send things to a break. When we come back, we'll maybe mention this match a few more times, but we've got Northwood going up against Baldwin Wallace for our second match of the night. Things are not done here for the Varsity Premier Conference Championships. Don't go too far. We're gonna be back with another banger best of 5. Welcome back, folks. We were able to recollect our thoughts after the previous series. Hopefully you were able to calm yourselves down from the cataclysmic breakdown that we just saw on the broadcast. That was a collapse I don't think I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
But again, congratulations to St. Clair. They will keep their season undefeated for now. They have shown that they have a lot of weak spots that they need to correct for themselves. Other teams can very easily take advantage of those. They just pay a little bit of attention or be able to practice for. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash, as always. Amber, we've got another great series on our hands here. Northwood, again, the talk of the town, besides St. Clair, taking on the side of Baldwin Wallace.
It's one where this is the first time we've seen Northwood on broadcast. So, we'll go over everything, kind of give you the lay of the land for tonight and have a look at rosters between both of these teams. We've seen Baldwin Wallace a couple of times, but as I was saying, this is going to be our first time having a look on broadcast at Northwood University. And, well, they've still been doing Northwood things. You see the blemish on their record. Of course, that comes from a forfeit from circumstances we aren't fully aware of. But, again, despite that one blemish that came the way of forfeit, this team still rocking and rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I will mention for the side of Baldwin Wallace, Matty Ice not playing tonight. Cora will be stepping in. Cora also played in the spot of Conwa just Wednesday, I guess. For this Baldwin Wallace roster, we saw some cool things out of Cora, but just being in the incapable hands of Conwa for that series, there was a definite divide in this team, and you saw how things kind of fell down a slippery slope, and it ended up with them losing in an 0-3 way to the team that they did go up against. And the problem with that is the fact that, well, we just kind of learned about them that no Conwa, probably no win.
Yeah, it's very hard. No, he's definitely their in-game leader, both vocally and, in the score column. And, just to give Northwood, their quick little breeze through, of course, being Infinite, Dak, K-Top, Mock, they do Northwood things, and they've been doing that all year. So we'll have a look at our maps, see kind of, where we're going in this one. And I'm excited to talk about them because, again, you talk about an embassy, you think of the best that we have here in the collegiate scene. And this one should be a really good one to kick things off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice little touch to show the map control of Northwood, or maybe a lack of map control from Northwood. We don't know how this Baldwin Wallace roster will upset this titan of a team, but I will say one thing. That blemish on the record, it does look bad, but again, once you realize that it's a forfeiture loss, then it kind of puts things into a bit better of a perspective for this Northwood roster. Cash, we kind of talked about before the series, about some of the tribulations that teams have gone through against this Northwood roster. Kind of walk me through some of the statistics they have from the season.
Yes, of course, given their specific map and mode counts, of course, 6-1 on the year, barring that forfeit, but very much undefeated in the respective maps and modes. The maximum points they have allowed in each of the respective modes, or, points or rounds, they've only given up a maximum of 111 hard points in a given map, and only a maximum of 2 search and destroy rounds in a given series, and 1 control round. So it hasn't been close. That means they are winning their hard points 252, 111 or worse, and 6-2 or worse, 3-1 or worse. So again, we haven't seen them on broadcast, but they have still been playing the way that we know North does.
Absolutely, and just go ahead and run me through the matchup that they played against each other I don't know, say 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, this is one that is definitely the worst end of the scores we had given you just a moment ago. The hard point, 250-49, search and destroy, 6-1, and the control, 3-0. Again, this wasn't a week 1 matchup between these two teams. Now, I'm not sure on what exactly the Baldwin Wallace roster was. That could have been with or without Conwa, with or without Matty Ice, so not too sure, but either way, definitely something that you maybe hesitant to revisit if you are Baldwin Wallace. Sure, you want to crack at the conference championship, but with Northwood putting up numbers like that against this team just as recent as 2 Wednesdays ago, boy, are we going to have to see night and day improvements.
Yeah, we absolutely will. And again, I don't, personally, at least in my humble opinion, a 250 to 49 score line doesn't really sit all that well with me for a 50-point club, that is, at least. So on a map of Embassy where, you have to have the utmost care when teamwork is concerned, being able to dictate the map in how you so see fit, it is very difficult to be able to lay out the land of the map in a way that you so choose to, but Northwood is one of the best teams at doing just that, so I feel like this one might be getting out of hand kind of quickly yet again.
It's just, you have Convo back, of course, which will, bode things better, but has Cora been getting in good reps with the team? That's a question, you have to kind of circle and ask, and, how are they feeling with this quick of a turnaround? How much emphasis did they put on VOD and getting maybe to know this Northwood team a little bit better? So, yeah, there are a lot of holes in this series and this gameplay that we're going to have to see filled by a Baldwin Wallace team that, again, really has a lot to prove here, given that was the last match of the regular season, given it was so recent. A lot of things for them to figure out in this one, and as you said, teamwork is the name of the game here on Embassy. Something you've got to see from start to finish. The teams that control the maps on this, well, maybe run up 250 to 49 score lines, so it's one that you don't want to repeat if you can. I mean, any way that you can play better in this series will bode well for your odds against Northwood. I mean, given the score lines I just rattled off, Baldwin Wallace will take just about anything.
Yeah, they absolutely will. Yeah, I don't want it to sound like a bleak outlook on the series or doom and gloom, but there are a lot of problems a lot of the time when facing up against this Northwood roster, and that's okay. Baldwin Wallace is not coming into this matchup favored. They're not expected to win this matchup. They are not expected to do anything of the sort. We kind of expected this Baldwin Wallace roster to be kind of facing that LCQ, knowing that they were in the conference with Northwood. I don't think anybody coming into the season would have said Northwood was going to find themselves in the LCQ or anywhere close to it, especially coming off of the championship last year in the Vanguard year. This is a team that went through a roster change or a player differential inside of the Vanguard here. So during the Vanguard season, you had Fame on this roster and whatnot, Thresh as well. Both those two players, you don't really think about them when you look at this roster anymore. What you think about is you think about Bink, you think Infinite, you think Mock, you think K-Tob, you think Dak. That's what you think about when you think of this new branded Northwood team, and they were able to take that collegiate championship here in the NA Star League just a few months ago back in December. So now you look at this team, great experience. You've seen a lot of growth with this roster as well, and they have been able to come together and make themselves known as the Titan this year. There's a reason they're ranked number one in a lot of other places. There's a reason they're the number one team in a lot of people's eyes here inside of the NA Star League. So all that is going to be a culmination of what they want to be able to get. But hey, guess what? Baldwin Wallace, they've already gotten close to being able to double up the points that they were able to get in the first hard point they played against this Northwood roster just 2 weeks ago.
Hey. 18 to start on this hard point, getting some P1 time and flipping out for P2. Definitely a great start for Baldwin Wallace in this one. So 30 seconds still up for grabs. Northwood going to try to garner some of that time. Kills go back and forth. Will be Northwood on top for now as they look to try to trek across the map and influence these spawns once again. And with 15 seconds to do so, they absolutely can. Matty Ice caught on the bad side of a grenade. Mock over the top, going to try to connect for some kills and going to find nothing to start. But we've got ourselves a basically tied game going into P2.
Nice little introduction here for Baldwin Wallace on the Embassy. Pommel laying down. Manny Melt's there as well. It's going to be LCC Sats who's able to find that first kill over the top there. On to Conwa. As Polyester falls, Matty Ice is trying to make something happen. Manny Melt's in the back line as well. I guess we were given some different information here as Matty Ice is in the game. Core not actually starting here for the side of Baldwin Wallace. So they're at full strength right now, Cash.
And that's the best way you would want to be going up against the Northwood squad. So excited to see all four players back in this one. And good to go that Matty Ice is able to be back in the lineup. But here, they're going to need to do some work early on as they're on the verge of giving up a full 60 at P2. Not something you see so often, but when talking about the likes of Northwood, definitely something that's possible for them. And Mock already making moves on rotation towards P3. Talk about how vital map control is. And again, when all four players are playing a different zone of the map, respectively speaking, that's how you know things can get mixy, because all of Baldwin Wallace going to be spawning that top right side, going to be spawning Embassy and P4. And now as P3 looks to pop, Northwood have themselves a 55-point lead.
Yeah, when you think of this Northwood roster, specifically talking about like Bink, Mock, and Infinite, you don't think collegiate players. You think top North American challengers players. So when you're facing up against guys like this, it's always going to be a difficult challenge to be able to test and best them. But if you're able to get even somewhat close to that, it puts you at a good standstill for not only your own self-confidence, but the confidence in your team. So nice little challenge out there by Polyester. We'll find stats on the down low. 77-22. Baldwin Wallace trying to run up the scoreline here at the top AC. As you got Bink back in towards this point in the moment. He's still looking for Matty Meltz over the top. Nice shots are going to be out from Matty, though. He'll cut down the player that's at the top, and Baldwin Wallace, once again, trying to reclaim some time.
Infinite on rotation, a 1v1 for not only back spawns, but at least this new portion of time, still a decent bit of scrap up as well. Bink is going to be pushing for that, but you're trying to sniff this player. Embassy, you're trying to get this kill. Matty Meltz is able to clean it up, but that's not without Northwood having bought enough time for reinforcements to work in here. And now as we make our way to P4, still a 50 or so point lead that Northwood has. They're poised and trying to get a break early on P4.
1-11 start here from Polyester. Mock trying to get in through the doorway. Semtech's going to be able to weaken one up, actually take out the kill. Polyester will fall as Khan was able to pop a double on the refrag back. Baldwin Wallace still able to maintain control here on P4. And as Infinite's trying to charge his way forward, he's just going to be forced to back off for a moment. Matty Ice will get the best of him. Headshot going to knock him down. 86-48. About a 40-point lead here for Northwood in closing, though, as Baldwin Wallace have gotten the first 20 seconds here on P4.
Northwood was trying to slow play this push, trying to pick a couple of these gunfights to ensure that Baldwin Wallace spawn out. And now on their second attempt, this is kind of what we're seeing. You see the P5 spawns come in on this one as Northwood are able to get in for the back half of P4 over here. A team need comes in as well, but they are in for this time, continuing to run up their lead. But it's one of those plays where if you're Baldwin Wallace, you're not too mad about it. You got the lion's share of time on P4. You get P5 rotation. The question is, you have to hold this down. Can you do it with Northwood on the prowl?
So you and I are on a hot streak tonight of being able to speak consistent sentences. It's funny. We always say, like, oh yeah, this team's got to be consistent today. How about we try to practice a little bit of what we preach and have some consistency in our calls? Matty Meltz looking down on the staircase. Wants to find his way to hop down, but Infinite's going to be there. Hipfire shot's going to be good. He's got a cruise missile to work with as well. Polyester and Conway, though, going to be starting to march their way up the map. Matty Ice cut down. Still time here in the kitchen from Northwood. The next hill's going to be just a hop, skip, and a jump away. You're completely fine with being able to fight for the last 10 to 15 seconds of this hill, so don't be surprised if Matty Meltz is going to be able to trade back what Pink just had in the three-piece.
Now they're trying to push the way forward. Find some of this time, find themselves a couple more kills already with more points than they got their last go around a couple weeks ago. So everyone claps for Baldwin Wallace. Things pointing in the right direction for now, but it is that 50-point, 60-point deficit that is so hard to overcome. Once a team gets it, they can kind of just stiff arm you the rest of the way. Baldwin Wallace are going to need a big play. I mean, that Matty Meltz three-piece is a good way to start, but again, Polyester, Matty Ice need to get things going here as well to generate momentum to get the team back in this one. Northwood going to try to take the second set of rotations to run up the score.
That's will lay down. Matty Ice is forced to back all the way off, and Mock with the AR in hand will get some help from Bink. He's also there to out and overlook the objective with the rest of the team. Matty Meltz will toss the stun in the middle of the map, try to get some information and a check on Northwood. But as Baldwin Wallace continue to flood their way back in towards the hill, they'll finally make it stick here in a contestation-heavy P1. Shot in the back. Infinite is there. Bink is there as well. Northwood, once again, trying to expedite their lead, be able to retake and form that bubble they had before.
English streaks in the back pocket now. Northwood starting to come alive this second set of rotations with a good amount of time on P1. Trying to win P2 rotations, which is something they didn't do the last time, though. They were able to get in early. They didn't quite have that rotation on lock, and with a couple players in the back, they don't have that as well. But now you're working through, doing your diligence, and there come the spawn. One last player to bully out in Matty Ice. You're backing him down about as far as you can as this new hill looks to pop. Northwood, they're all here.
Trophy system, though, not going to be able to protect the player close. Forced to back all the way off. Streak going to be invested there from Infinite. Won't find anything, but forces everybody into buildings to go ahead and hide and pray. Infinite now on 3 in a row. Trying to go ahead and snap back over with the AR towards the middle of the map. Get some unfortunate timing. He's now forced to back himself off, but it's P2 that's being ran up here by Northwood. First 20 seconds have gone their way, and nobody here from Baldwin Wallace is still going to be able to challenge this hill just yet. Infinite's still alive. Will finally get cut down by Matty Ice, and here comes the contestant in from Polyester, but it's not more than a second. He dips his toe onto the hard pole before he shut down.
Infinite off spawn, instantly wrapping to mid to try to cut down a player, but really going to have focus on P3 as they're spawning right where they want to, and have Baldwin Wallace spawning right where they would like them to as well. Polyester, the only one close enough to maybe give this an early look. 15 seconds left for grabs. Baldwin Wallace will take that, looked across the 100-point mark as Northwood all through the top side of the map are grouped up and ready to hit P3.
Trying to make it a little closer. Infinite top of the staircase doesn't realize that Con was down below. Con will pop all three through the doorway. Hey, Mock, I'd be careful going through that as well. You're going to turn around. Oh, Conwell, get me on! 190, 101. Baldwin Wallace here at the point. Conwell will do it all himself, and that's all he's needed to do. We said this team is not at full strength without Conwell, and well, for good reason. Little 4-piece. The crowd pleased.
I've seen this man play live, and boy, was he chirping after that one. I can let you know that, whether it be from their facility, wherever he's playing from, the team is fired up into this one. Now can they rally back enough momentum behind that to push themselves the distance, to push Northwood the lengths of this one? They need to get back onto this for some good and valuable time. P4 needs to be that much cleaner as Conwa on 7 in a row. Fine, I'll do it myself. Go into the takeover mode here.
Brother, I'll be the one to say it. Get Conwa some help. You got a guy triple negative on your team right now. Another guy that's almost triple negative. The only one that's trying to help you out right now is Matty Melts. That guy needs a contract. In the real sense of the word, Mock gunfight over the top. Conwa's going to be there to shut him down with the Vaznev, and who else besides Conwa would be able to lead the charge late here. He didn't have a great start to this game, but ever since that couple of kills that he was able to string together, he has been frying.
And unfortunately, it's just not showing it in the score column, which is so unfortunate with the electric gameplay of Matty Melts and Matty Ice. And this one, no one able to play as close in tow to help hold that kind of weight. 100-point deficit. 35 or so seconds away from closing this one out. Northwood can very much win this here and go up 1-0 in this series. Baldwin Wallace doing everything they can to get back in, but with an all-blue kill feed, yeah, we might be seeing you.
All they need is 20 seconds here to be able to take map number 1 of the conference championship matchup against Baldwin Wallace. No contestant in here just yet. From the outside looking in, though, a few kills are going to go their way. But is this push going to be late? Or are they going to be able to just get there in the nick of time? Matty Melts, unfortunately, takes down Conwa, tries to snap into the corner. Stats is going to be there for the 1 versus 1. And with a 250 to 127 hardpoint win, Northwood will take nap number 1. And, well, Cash, at least there's some good news here. That's the most points anybody's ever been able to score on Northwood throughout the entirety of the NA season.
There we go. We gotta take our wins where we get them, and I mean, oof, I'm down to watch this again. Hold on, moment of silence for Mock. Whew. Thank you.
There will
wow.
be a candlelight vigil held in the courtyard of the Search and Destroy map shortly before map 1.
Ooh. I'll be there. I will absolutely be there for that one. And
I'm gonna toss up like a little, you know, those what are they? The lanterns. Yeah, I'm gonna toss a lantern up like they did in the
little paper lanterns.
What's that Disney movie, bro? The one with kind of like Rapunzel, but like the dude with the smolder face that's like super hot and sexy. Like
I'm not a Disney kid. Oh,
bro,
no.
Dude, I don't know, dude. I'm so fake right. It had the gecko, bro. It had like the little lizard, bro. She had like the long hair and everything like that. Dude, I am actually blanking so hard on the movie's name, and I love that movie. It's so good. It's not Up, I can tell you that. That's the one that keeps coming into my mind. But
Love Up.
That's a great movie too. Yeah. I feel so bad for the dog and the old man.
It's a tearjerker.
And Baldwin Wallace. To bring the conversational point back onto it. Hard map, 1 loss. But things can get better in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, Mercado is an S&D map that I don't generally like hopping into. It's just it's tough whenever it's just 4 heads running into walls and running into alleys. But again, the teams that do have a evolved strategy for it, it definitely can play a bit more entertaining. It kind of feels like my Berlin in the sense from last year, where if you don't have a strat going into it, it can be hard to get through, and it can be hard to make adjustments in the mid-round because your strat was sprint, hope your attacks find an opening first blood, and trade from there. When that's not the case, teams can kind of hit a wall. Now, I don't expect either of these teams to really be in that position, but for Baldwin Wallace, you definitely hope to formulate success against this Northwood team here, where, again, they have never lost more than 2 rounds in a Search and Destroy. So you've already beat the odds, and the hard point, sure, that doesn't mean you get a map win, but again, if you can continue building upon what was going well for you in the hard point, things could turn around. Now, we talk about consistencies and inconsistencies. The good teams, the best teams. People are probably like, shut up, Cash, we get it. But honestly, if you can't slay with Northwood, you can't play with Northwood. Plain and simple. You have to find a way to be able to go toe-to-toe with them, and triple negative in a hard point doesn't do it. It just doesn't. It's not like you went triple negative with 3 minutes of fill time. It was triple negative with 60 seconds of fill time, and again, basically, you were just getting hat around the map. I mean, just to keep it simple, we're at this point in the season where you have to put up or shut up, and for Northwood, they have, or for Baldwin Wallace, they have that potential. Absolutely. I wouldn't say this of a team if I didn't think that they had that ability. I believe in this Baldwin Wallace team to really turn things around where they can. But again, it's got to be all 4 players, and it has to be immediately. It can't be in a map or 2. It can't be in, whatever, we need to get back to a respawn. It's got to start now. You want to show you can make a deep playoff run. You want to show you can take a map off of Northwood. Yeah. You have to do it in the Search and Destroy. It's got to be Matty Ice with a better performance. Polyester, a better performance here. things have to kick off immediately for this team for me to even, again, it feels like the Wichita State conversation of last time, or, the last series we just had. But again, the job's never done for the underdog team, unfortunately. And I think Baldwin Wallace fully are aware of that and what they need to do here. And again, for Northwood, it is continue doing what you do, which is give people the Northwood special, I guess.
Yeah, the Northwood special is, it's not fun to be on the other side of it. Watching it's great. I love it. This is fun. I get to sit here and watch great Call of Duty. Everybody always in a good position. Trades are always on the table, and there's never a situation where everybody's just kind of like left out on an island by themselves. There's always just great Call of Duty to be played. Everybody running around with one another. I will say this though. I love the guys over at Baldwin Wallace. He's insane. Matty Ice, Matty Melts, they both can go off whenever they so choose to. And of course, you look to Polyester as well, who's been pretty consistent throughout the whole year. I want to say that like they can take the search and destroy, and I want to say this is their best chance in the series, besides maybe barring a control. But again, I just don't look at this team and see anybody who can keep up with the same ferocity and aggressiveness that Northwood plays with, besides maybe Conway. I don't want to single out one person, but like he's really the only one that can really go toe to toe in the slaying department and carry a heavy load throughout the map. But if he has a slow start, or he's not able to kickstart his game 2 or whatever it might be, things very quickly spiral out of control, and that's where you see Northwood really start to dominate the game and just take over the pace of everything. So credit where credit is due. If Matty Ice, Matty Melts, or Polyester have a crazy game here, I'll eat my words and say congratulations to the Baldwin Wallace guys. But we have to be honest with ourselves, even as casters, while trying to support a lighthearted narrative. Northwood is disgusting. And I'm not saying that in like a Skip Bayless, like I'm gonna ride you to the sunset type of way. I'm saying that in like a genuinely speaking, like this is just a solid, formidable search and destroy, hard point control, whatever it might be, Call of Duty team. Absolutely
so. And again, like you said, to give that objective point of view as we do as casters, to put some numbers back on the board. This is statistically speaking Baldwin Wallace's worst game mode. They are 9-3 coming into tonight in hardpoint, and they are 5-3 in the control, boasting a negative record at 4-5 in the S&D. So it's not abysmal, but again, it's definitely not great for them given the likes of their potential. So I say those stats very much with the implication that you take it with a grain of salt, because at this stage of the season, the postseason, you just can't really take numbers for too much of what they're worth, in the sense of everything flips on its head, especially against the Northwood. Your best mode could be your worst game mode, and the one you could take off of a team like Northwood or St. Clair could be statistically your worst one. So again, I gave you those numbers just so that you are aware of what Baldwin Wallace has done coming into this point, coming into this match tonight. If they were to take this search and destroy, it would be shocking just given their statistical performances in that mode throughout the season. But as you had said, it's not something that they cannot do. It is just one that they are going to have to take each round by what it is, a round. You can't think too far ahead and think, oh, we're up 3, we're down 3, whatever it could be at some point in the search. They need to take it each round at a time, each gunfight at a time. Do what Northwood does well. You don't have to be the best player in the world to set yourself up for a trade, right? You just need to put yourself in good position. You need to have communication on point. Those are things in the Baldwin Wallace camp that you can control. And again, setting yourself up to trade well, giving yourself good lines of sight to be able to watch crosses, to communicate that to your team. Those are all things well within your control, unless Northwood is simply flying at you and pulling out lanes, which they very much can do. Take what the map is giving you. You had said it last series, and it's such a great point to play on. Take what the map gives you, control what you can, and see where that lands you after that. See what adjustments you have to make after you do those things.
I'll tell you guys this. I promise there is a map loading up in the background. I don't know when it's coming. I'm hoping it's coming soon, because I know you don't want to hear us talk anymore. I'm sorry. I really am. I can't do anything about that at the current junction, but we are working through a few bugs in the lobby right now. So again, I promise there's a lobby coming. I promise we'll shut our fat mouths here in a second and let you just enjoy some of the gameplay. But again, as vamping goes, just kind of looking back to the hard point, I guess, to get some reference here for Baldwin Wallace. a lot of your good moments, I think back to the P4 hold that they had for like 40 seconds. That was really good. And that was, a hill where it wasn't just one person needed to take over. Everybody had an important role of whether it be Conwa shutting out the front door, Matty Ice being able to watch the back staircase in the push from the courtyard. You also had Matty Melts being able to watch the opposite direction. And then you also had Polyester, who was able to get a few kills here and there. And let me tell you, they were sparse and few to come by around the map. But hey, that hill, when he locked it down and he turned his brain on for a minute, he was able to lock it down. And that's when they got themselves like almost 50 points on the hill. So again, there's glimpses and moments we see all the time at teams at a collegiate level. And it's like, how are we going to be able to combine that, put that together, and put our best foot forward here in the matchup? And that's what Ball and Walls have been trying to find all season. They beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. They lose to the teams that they're supposed to lose to. But there hasn't been that sort of rush of anticipation of like, dude, they could win this match now. And I want that to be felt here in the Search and Destroy. And finally, we've got ourselves some gameplay. Let's go, dude. Stuns, nade, Semtex is over the top. Conwa's going to be able to put a nicely placed nade on the Infinite. That'll give a first blood to the side of Baldwin Wallace. They're going to strike first here. They're buzzing around that base at.
That they are. And now from here on out, you just hope they can trade effectively. Conwa is just going to say, I'll continue where I left off in the hard point. Finding a couple kills to open things up. Matty Melts will combine for another. So as quick as this round starts, Bach left in a 1v4. Still in spawn as well. I was going to say, I'm thinking he's sniping, given his positioning. Oh, and that timing could not have been worse.
It couldn't have, but Conwa, dude, he's so turnt right now. Like, dude, he started shooting at the dead body. That's an egregious challenge right there with the pistol in hand. Almost was able to make it stick, but Baldwin Wallace first round on the board here. Beautiful start to an S&D. That's what I wanted to see. Aggression on aggression. They forced Northwood down the kill toll. Well, take it to their throat and slit it.
And this is what, when Con wasn't playing, what they're lacking. Again, having seen this team play live, having seen the different elements of them, Con was the go-getter, the get-them-going type of player who gets everyone on board whether they want to be or not. Again, when you're playing with someone who has energy like that, who has not only composure but aggression, all of the things you would want out of an IGL, out of a team leader, you can't help but get excited. You can't help but feel for your odds in this one as he opens up with another first blood, make it 2. Trades abound. Matty Melt's still there for the final one. So a 2v1 once again after Conwa does the hard work early. And now they're going to try to get this bomb down. Mock once again left in a clutch situation.
A bit more manageable here. The sniper in this position. One's going to hop all the way back across. Oh, Mock won't be able to get the information or the shot off on Polyester. So he's going to be forced to have to wrap back around and play this from a different angle. Dead silence has been popped. Sniper going to be looking up over the top. Doesn't see anybody peeking out just yet. Polyester might get some unfortunate timing here in just a moment, but Mock decides to go into the bottom of Cantina instead of going up the top staircase. Crouches now, walking forward. Knows that he doesn't have dead silence to work with. And as Matty Melts pre-aims the staircase, is going to be able to cut down the player from Northwood walking up through. Baldwin Wallace will take an offense and a defense and go back to back.
It's off of Conblood, and from there, the team closes things out to finish it. Play around the bomb well, you get the plant in, and again, they play close back-to-back in Cantina. That is I think the A side of Mercado might be one of the hardest site retakes, even harder than that of what a Hotel B site retake. It is so hard when you let a team get their post-plant setup in. Baldwin Wallace, we said to come into it, they know what they need to do to try to take rounds off this team. They're controlling what they can. Conwell finding first bloods has been huge, but the way they've been able to trade and put themselves in those positions, I think of Matty Melts, the way they've played around the bomb, those are things they can control, and they're finding success for it.
This little trade there by Matty Melts. In a great position almost every round this game to be able to take off a player from Northwood. After somebody from Baldwin Wallace goes down, Matty Melts challenge out around the corner. Mock won't be able to find the finish with the pistol in hand. But now we'll pop over to the second one. Snipe just off to the right side of the head. Bullet whizzes past Polyester. Mock will be forced to play back just a bit further. 2 versus 3. Player still in the middle of the map. Nobody wanting to give position away just yet. Matty Melts forced to back down again.
Polyester will fall. Now you're going to try to reposition and maybe get the best timing for it. I thought, woo! Get behind cover. Matty Ice watching this tunnel cross though as the bomb should try to work towards A. This should be information, if not a kill. Oh, and Mock connects for that one. So a 1v2 for Matty Melt. I thought that was a sure kill out of Matty Ice. Now bomb down. Mirror image of the round prior. 1v2 retake in for Matty Melts.
I don't know if this is Coach Boston playing or not. But if it is Evan, I don't know what the hell that was right there. But never in your life cross across the middle tube of Mercado while crouch walking and going prone. You are so lucky that your teammates are able to get that kill, because you should not have been alive in that situation. I'll just be honest, little bro.
No, that was actually what I was trying to say. You just got straight to the point. Yeah, that should have been a kill. Mock's kill wasn't even immediate, you know? Like, I don't know if, perhaps Matty Ice was watching top balcony, and so your gun blocks that cross. Could be a multitude of things. But, yeah, Northwood find a good way to strike back. They're still down 1 round. But, I mean, really, it's been all Matty Melts, all Conway here for Baldwin Wallace, and now with a good executed push towards B, no one's going to be home. If they fly at this, they could get this bomb down for free.
Yeah, but are Northwood going to be able to rotate quick enough to be able to shut this down? Mock can be looking for Matty Ice. Shots are good, but they're not going to be able to connect for a kill. As that bomb has worked its way back into the warehouse. Things out on the B site are looking good for now. Bomb should be able to go down here, and it will be. Nobody going to be able to stop this one just yet. 45-second time and restriction on Northwood.
No information on where these players are. Mock is able to get a great kill on Con, but that's going to take down your first line of defense. You still have Matty Melts playing all the way back garage. No one going to be home for that. You'll see him get back in the mix here. You're trying to pick players off. 30 seconds left. You haven't had anything going for you.
You had one from the flank. Infinite was able to open up the doorway, though. Polyester falls. Now it's Matty Melts in the back line. Infinite, great shots out. 6 HP will survive. Stats 1 versus 1 there onto Matty Ice. Will be able to walk away from it. And just as quickly as Baldwin Wallace were able to get themselves 2 quick rounds in this search and destroy on Mercado, Northwood strikes back for 2 of their own.
I didn't like the sniper being out on that B push. I think that just kind of hinders your ability. There's no clean lane to really look at that site unless you're playing top warehouse, maybe overlooking street. But again, they were already pushed through that. And plain and simply, Northwood go in, win their 1v1s, and call it a day. It was a well-intended play, but again, where things can fall through is that execution, and that's exactly what happened for Baldwin Wallace. Things were tied up to a piece.
Back to the offensive side here for Northwood. We'll see if they opt to play over towards the A side again. Probably assume so, as that is the preferred bomb site here on Mercado. Make sure you don't fall the hands of a nade once again from the opposition. Conwa backed off just a bit, 69 HP. Nice, walks away with his life. Infinite down low in the bottom of Cantina. Mock looking up over the top yet again. Polyester laying down, not able to find any information for himself just yet, but it's Conwa who's able to march up first forward. Matty Melts gets the second, and all of a sudden it's a 2 versus 4 with Infinite and Mock, the last left alive.
Oof, and Conwa strikes from top Cantina, ends up hitting the awning jump up, and now trying to find this last player. They know he's going to be bottom Cantina. The wall banks come in, can't get away. Baldwin Wallace take another round up, 3-2 here. It's been behind the pressure the Conwa and Matty Melts have put around the map. I mean, now it's 8-2 for Matty here. Conwa probably looking very, very similar, but defensively making a good hold, and Northwood just couldn't get any kind of openings, any kind of looks that they wanted to soften up this A site.
Some good adjustments here. Baldwin Wallace on both sides of the point. Infinite looks to get a little Semtex up close. Make sure nobody can push up through that L quick enough. Infinite's up waiting for a push into top Cantina. Stats will walk away with the first blood there onto Conwa. 7-5 for Conwa, 8-2 for Matty Melts. The last 2 players of Polyester and Matty Ice are combined for 1 kill on the map right now. Only 5 deaths, so that's at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah, you definitely need to find these kills now, as you guys were the only 2 left in a 2v4, and they know where both of you are. Trapped back alley, so if they want to push this out, they can. They could bleed more of this clock before making that work. Now you see them both maybe try to wrap back towards B. They have the time to do so. The question is, will they get away without taking a bit of damage, if not losing their lives for it? Here goes the play. All of Northwood stacked up on this A site.
We were able to get the bomb down last time here over at B. Trying to repeat the same thing here. Hey, hi, Mock. What you doing? It's going to cut you down there. Polyester will pick up the bomb at the bottom warehouse. I mean, realistically, in a 1v4, I mean, you got to try at least get the bomb down, extend the round out a little bit. First gunfight going to come through, and everybody starts peeking up, bait and switch around the corner. How do you do, buddy? Put you in the dirt, 3-3, Northwood. Tie things up.
And the rounds either of these teams are winning, fairly convincing at that. For Baldwin Wallace, it's, I mean, I don't know if I can say their names many more times. Maddie Melts and Convo definitely paving the way for their success, and for Northwood, a little bit of everyone getting in the mix. A little more balanced effort between them all, but we're still tied 3-3 nonetheless, and I think for Northwood, your mid-round adjustment that you can make here, mid-game adjustment, excuse me, would be, yeah, if you can get Convo and Maddie Melts off the board early, you should be sitting pretty well. And for Baldwin Wallace, can you get everyone else involved where you can and get them into some positions to feel comfortable? And maybe things could look a little bit more convincing for you. Convo with the first two once again. I mean, jeez.
Well, there is a father on the map right now, and that is Convo at the moment. The son in question, maybe the daughter, Northwood. That's unfortunate right now. They have been put through the blender throughout the entirety of this game. Maddie Melts and Convo have been the rock and stone centerpiece, if you will, of this Northwood roster. I thought Convo might have been able to drop up, get the shots there onto Mock, somehow almost is able to hit fire there onto Stats, but he'll walk away with the kill. 2 versus 2 we go. Mock and Stats, Maddie Ice and Maddie Melts, a double duo on either side.
You got this tunnel cross once again. Will this push out? And Maddie has good timing here. He jumps out the light post. Oh, gonna do him dirty. Not gonna be able to find the kill. But Maddie Ice through the back lines. Doesn't have the trigger discipline. Gives up his position as well. 28 seconds left. You got to win that gunfight, and you do. From the top ropes, Mock can't take it. Now Stats trying to work. Trying to get an angle on this site, but run out of time.
Axe down. Maddie Melts in the middle of the map will finally be able to clean things up with a scar in hand over the top. Attack comes in handy. Baldwin Wallace will once again reclaim the lead. Every time they've gotten themselves a lead, Northwood have been able to tie it up. Just Northwood hasn't gotten the edge to be able to take a lead here in the Search and Destroy.
And Northwood have only given up 2 Search and Destroy rounds. So, I mean, again, this is a night of firsts really coming in between both of our series. And, I mean, that's why I said take Stats with a grain of salt. Not the player, but the information I was giving earlier. Baldwin Wallace, this is historically their worst game mode, and yet they have continued to have round advantages here in this Search and Destroy. Northwood giving up double that of the round counts they've given up in previous games this entire series. So, I mean, again, we'll just see where the night takes us. But for now, Baldwin Wallace in the driver's seat.
Minute, we'll shoot out the window to top canteen. Maddie Ice is forced to back off down the staircase. Baldwin Wallace are, at least right now, in themselves a pickle. Nade up over the top. Weaken up Mock. Force him to back off around the corner. This is going to give Maddie Melts the peeker's advantage. But as it's infinite up and towards the top, he'll find himself a first blood in the round. Polyester will fall to 1 and 5 and befates the rest of the team to a 3v4.
I think Convo might be the only one in Cantina, and that's bottom Cantina. Everyone else is back alley. Just not enough real estate to push up. And Infinite just going to turn this into his playground. Run around, jump around. Look to find these kills. A 2v4. Surely a tie-up in the rounds coming in momentarily is... Stats is able to find that kill. 1 left on the board, and I think that's just 1, but...
Okay.
Okay.
Only 23 seconds left to work with, though, so it's going to be a difficult gunfight. He isolates the one on the pink and maybe gives himself a chance in the round, but the 2 kills weren't enough. Northwood, once again, after going down a round, will equalize it back at a 4-4. This feels very similar to what we saw on the end of the Fortress between St. Clair and Wichita State. Without as many, like, 2v4s, though.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, that one... I mean, if you'd have won that gunfight, I was already rooting for the clutch. That snap was clean. 11 and 4. Maybe the Torture Father trading hands to that of Maddie Melts. Either way, doing damage on the map. 2 combined kills between your teammates. It was the same story in the hard point. You need a helping hand. You still have things tied up 4-4. So I mean, anything at all. And surely you would think you'd walk away with this map at this point.
Oh, Kawa needed to be careful. Didn't realize Infinite was going to be hopping up his shoulder over the top. But, you know, I just can't seem to put my finger on it. But there might just be a disparity somewhere on the scoreboard for Baldwin Wallace. If anybody lets me know what it is, that would be oh so gracious of you. 45 seconds of timer left for Baldwin Wallace to retake over on the A site. The defense hasn't worked out all that great so far. And Mock in the middle of the map with the snipers trying to cut down 1.
Ooh. It's just the tracking. I mean, you name it, just... Yep. There goes 1. And there's a cross for the other. So, again, all you have to do is sit and wait for these gunfights to come your way. And bleed the clock at that. 13 seconds left to make a play on the bomb. And Bink's just going to bait and switch, buy time, and that should be the round.
Yeah, Matty Melts was left with 6 HP. Couldn't really make an aggressive push out forward. Stats will be able to find one there on Polyester, and that should just about do it for the round, even though he's not going to be able to find the defuse. Well, maybe he can get himself a few consolation kills. Being going to go in for the challenge and will finally cut him down, so Northwood will now go and put themselves at match point here in the search and destroy. Their first lead here in the S&D comes at the most crucial point.
Fine time. Game awareness, plain and simple. Good search and destroy out of Northwood to put themselves at map point, like you said. And for Baldwin Wallace, I mean, you can't dice it up too many more ways. Between Conwa, between Matty Melts, you've got 22 kills in a search, and you'd like to think between two players that would be good enough. Again, anything that can change here should favor Baldwin Wallace. In this one, it's another decisive B push, but this time, someone will be home and someone will be watching the cross, and it's a double fake back. Sure, why not? I mean, do a little do-si-do, kill a little bit of time, make a little noise, whatever.
Yeah, I think Matty Melts at this point is just looking for a pick, and you can see Baldwin Wallace nowhere, and I mean nowhere near as aggressive over towards this A site. So much so that Stats has actually given up the A site itself, started walking around the opposite way in the tunnel, and well, Conwa doesn't actually get the information. Nobody gets the read on the player and towards the middle of the map, and now it's Matty Melts left alive in a 1 versus 3. Was almost able to pull it off the last time through. Bink doesn't want to peek out around the corner just yet, but if he does, something unfortunate should befade him if the sniper shot is able to connect. Bomb down on the A site itself. Dead silence going to pop, but he is being surrounded by everybody on the side of Northwood right now. Doesn't realize there's one down below. We'll pull out the sniper. Infinite wise not to challenge all the way out. We'll come around the corner. Nade going to be placed well. Forces Matty Melts back into the top of Cantina, and that'll just about do it. Northwood will walk away with a final kill in the round despite Matty Melts' best attempts at a 1 versus 3. Clutch, they'll win the search and destroy 6-4, and a control could put the series away for them.
And it's so tough for Baldwin Wallace because you've had these shining moments. You started the search so well. I mean, but there's no consolation prizing here. 4 still falling short. You've tripled up your scoreline the last time you played them in the hard point. You have quadrupled your scoreline in the search and destroy. It's just unfortunately, again, without pulling off the map wins, what could be a 3-0 is still a 3-0 at the end of the day. So as much as they're making strides and showing improvements, you can still see the discrepancy between these two teams at times. And that's, again, Baldwin Wallace played a fairly strong search and destroy, and that's with 2 players putting up, less than 5 kills. So, I mean, again, I hate to keep harping on that and harping on the negative, right? But, we sung the praises of Conwa and Matty Melts and what they were able to do. But, I mean, again, plain and simple, against these good teams, you have to have 4 players that can evenly distribute a weight load or, a workload to that what Matty Melts and Conwa bring to the table. Yep. And if you don't, Northwood will punish you for it. I mean, cut dry, plain and simple.
Absolutely. Well, Northwood is looking good here, primed to potentially take this series in what would be a 3-0 sweep to give them an automatic shot at qualifying for the playoffs, and they would join St. Clair as the other team that has already done that thus far. On the opposite side of the coin, though, Baldwin Wallace, they are trying to start a reverse sweep similar in the fashion that Wichita State did against St. Clair. I don't know how much of a challenge it'll be in the control, but I think it'll be a little bit closer than a lot of us are expecting. So on the opposite side of a break, we'll talk about the control, we'll set things up, and we'll see if Baldwin Wallace has what it takes to start the reverse sweep. The vibes are high. The series has been something thus far. Northwood, a 250 to 122 point win in the first hard point, and then a 6-4 win in the search and destroy have gotten them to a point where they now have a 2-0 series lead over the side of this Baldwin Wallace roster. Now, Cash, the two things that we have learned so far about this Baldwin Wallace roster: Matty Melts is a dog, Conwa is him. Other two things we learned: Polyester and Matty Ice, they need to turn their monitors on or maybe get off of 60 hertz and shoot back a little bit. And again, I don't mean to make it sound grim, just to poke a little fun at everything here. Again, this is not a series that Baldwin Wallace were supposed to come into and win, but it is our job here to provide an entertaining broadcast, and as such, when players have bad performances, we get to highlight those things, whether it be a highlight or a low light. In this case, well, it was a low light for two players, and Northwood now have a 2-0 advantage going into a hotel control.
And yeah, if you want to start a reverse sweep, it's got to kick off in a respawn against this team. Not going to be the funnest of tasks, definitely the tallest of tasks. And yeah, it's got to be flawless in this control from you, at least as far as the performances you had given in the previous map and mode combos. Mock with a low snapper for the first blood, and if that's a sign of things to come, the end is there.
Madam Mail's gonna start things off. A couple shots at the top, snap down below. Still on there, hit a glitch. That's gonna be able to shoot on back as Polyester starts to make his way up the map. Good news here, if you are a Baldwin Wallace fan, Polyester has already matched the amount of kills he was able to get in the search and destroy here in the first 30 seconds of the control.
Woo! And down he goes. Bink, able to connect with one on the cross. Matty Ice at least able to trade one of those out. A site slowly but surely getting captured. Northwood looking to add over 2 minutes of start. Well, add a minute, but have over 2 minutes of time to work with. Baldwin Wallace maybe going to give it another look. I don't know that I love it. Why? Because you're just going to bleed lives at this point, and that's exactly what's happening. So Con was able to at least find one. Tries to go for the south. Yeah, sure. I didn't realize Con was left. Yeah, go for it. Try to stop this A side, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, he wasn't able to stop the A-side by himself as a one-man wrecking ball. However, he is going to be in a prime position to be able to cut a few players down from Northwood if they try to push into the back line. He's able to find one, snaps to the second, gets help from Matty Melts, the duo of a lifetime here in the series against Northwood. Bink in the middle of the map, gonna force the Semtex up into Conwa's face. A nice little stick there will shut him down, but it's Matty Melts who's able to find Bink in the middle of the map. Another challenge here coming in just a moment from Infinite. Oscar in engagement, you're gonna see him playing cat and mouse, and Infinite will chase him down in this situation. Well, he's gonna be Tom, and well, unfortunately, Matty Melts was Sherry.
Now in the back lines, trying to cut these players down off spawn, but gets the worst timing on Conwa. So your back line's cleared, but that doesn't mean top bed is clear. His stats flies in from the top window. Bink is there for the little bait and the switch, and now as they look to get on the point, stop the clock. Polyester, one of the last ones they have to deal with, and he pops a big two-piece here to at least slow down this push and start to turn some heads. Buys time for his teammate and Conwa to get in, make the hero play, and clear out the site. Now 70 seconds left. Lives are tied, if not favoring Baldwin Wallace here. They just need to make a couple more stands, and this round could be theirs.
Yeah, Polyester, much better player than the showing that he has had here in this series so far. I don't want to make it seem like we're just like kind of like, you know, joking on one player at their expense the whole time, even though we are. We'll be able to snap to one Polyester. Shots, they're almost able to take down Mock. Unfortunate there. One-on-one gunfight doesn't go their way. 13-12, Northwood the advantage, and on the B point. Clock has been stopped at 49 seconds with Matty Melts in the back line being able to take down Infinite. That's going to force things out of the spawn side and back over towards the point where the focal point will be here for the next, I don't know, say 15 to 20 seconds. Polyester, Staircase, Mock, 4 in a row. Snaps back around behind. Might have been able to get some audio information onto one, but it's Conwa who was able to find themselves there. Northwood shut down off the point. 45 seconds left, and Baldwin Wallace with a 1-life advantage.
Good map spread, good map control. You can see them really trying to get aggressive here, and you hope it doesn't hurt them, because if Northwood can find some kills, you're going to have to turn and race back to the point. A 2-life advantage in this one, and they are well beyond that 50-yard line of the map, getting kills all the way over in rugs. And you just have Conwa sitting tight top bed, waiting for the play. The need to snap across to the site. Infinite finds a kill, 2 or through the back lines, at least across that 50-yard line, and turn. Matty Ice, Matty Melts, the duo combined for a couple, and now 15 seconds left. You got to make a move.
Last hit here for Northwood over towards this B zone. Lots of scattered players here from Baldwin Wallace. The first one you need to clear out is going to be Conwa in the back line. Matty Melts is going to be an important one to take out as well, as he's on the Heglitch here in the bar. Beautiful shots pop back up on the Mock. Infinite Bink will fall at the same time, and it's all 4 down for Northwood as Baldwin Wallace will win their first defense here on Hotel. Life has been breathed into the series, and the lungs are starting to be filled with that sweet O2.
Baldwin Wallace, great defensive hold. start things off. Good advantage. Only gave up a tick at the B site as well. Now, what do they do off of this break for Northwood? Really gave a quick look towards A to try to get time on the clock. Baldwin Wallace, maybe a high-risk, high-reward play here, trying to go over to B. Try and see if they can get an early edge in that department, no matter what route they take. Need to put up a strong offensive performance here to put themselves in the best position possible to take this map off Northwood, and it's looking like a quick push over to A.
Shots out from Infinite. Gonna ring home and true, but it's fortunately Polyester who walks away with a gunfight. 2 quick kills are gonna give him a 2 spree. 3 in a row for Conway and Matty Melts as well. 10 and 5 leads the way here for both teams. As Conway now starts to make his march all the way over back on towards the A point. You see player number 7 though, starting to make his way forward. As in Wine Bink is going to win the one-on-one gunfight. He's going to try and snap back to Polyester, who's laying down in between both of the bar stools there. Fortunately, though, here for the side of Baldwin Wallace, only 1 tick of progress is what you're going to be able to muster up before Northwood was able to shut your aggressive assault back down.
Mock in a really aggressive position. No one going to be home. Everyone trying to slip. At least it was back and trying to get back over towards this A side, but whenever he decides to collapse, it could be dangerous. They do the due diligence and sniff him out. Find the kill, doop-de-doo, and now they find themselves on the A site. Looking to capture that. They will have less than 2 minutes if they can get this here on its attempt. Northwood, though, not going to let it go without fighting.
I'm sorry, I'm rubbing off on you with my inability to speak complete sentences. My apologies.
Yeah. Looking like Matty Ice and Polyester out here.
Matty Melts pops up big.
I love Baldwin Walls. Let me get that out there. I love these guys. They're great guys. It is all in good fun, even though the DMs after might be a little salty. It's all in good fun. We love it here, man. We really do.
It's made his way up with a kill on the Conwa. Polyester in the backline will fall in the hands of Mock. Still a 2-life advantage here from Baldwin Wallace. But hey, if you're leading and winning the map right now, well, you can accept a little bit of criticism here and there. 100 HP back up for Mock. South side of the map held down for the moment. Minute left to work with here for Baldwin Wallace. They're starting to make their assault forward. Con was the first one pushed up. No better person to be than him. But as Polyester falls, that gives things the 3 versus 4 advantage back to Northwood here on the defensive side.
Couple players pushing through bottom bed. And you still have Conway in the back lines, just waiting for good timing on these players. Isn't able to take the gunfight against Mock, so your player that has slipped the net now going to be shut down. The battle has to be from the front, and with 35 seconds and dwindling, you got to make a move sooner than later. You're trying to find a soft spot. Maybe Matty Melts and Polyester will combine for the opening. You need to sniff out Bink in bed before you can make this push.
Conwa does just that. Shut down in the top of the building. Matty Ice is now starting to make his way forward. Infinite Weak going to be able to help out from Matty Melts, the Matty duo on the opposite side of the map. Mock now falls. Everybody starting to stack here. And all those kills came in such quick succession that now all of a sudden, the first tick of progress has been in. Stats in the middle of the map. Not privy to the Matty Melts challenge. He'll get killed in the way of headshot, and now it's the second tick of progress. Still players from Northwood trying to push their way forward. 2 kills go their way. A third. Now it's Conwell left alive back on the point. He's able to hop up. Can't find his way onto Mock, but it's almost that third tick of progress that's there, but only 14 seconds left to get back on over towards it. 9 versus 12. 3 life advantage to Baldwin Wallace, but they have to start sprinting their way forward. It's a foot race to just get a toe on the touch, but they're running into pre-aims. Bink is going to be here. Mock is going to be looking over the middle of the map. And as Mock falls, with time expiring, Baldwin Wallace unfortunately won't be able to get that final tick, even though the stat came through. Northwood will clutch up on a defense that they desperately needed to win.
Down to the wire. I thought the 4 down was enough, but I mean, again, with no one being in check-in position in Spa, those spawns are going to be close for Northwood. They were able to get back to site and clear it out from there. Baldwin Wallace did their best from the front with the clock working against them, and it wasn't close enough. But at least on their offensive attempt, able to walk away with 1 more tick of progress on the B site than Northwood was. So as far as round 5 tracker goes, they do have that advantage. And again, I mean, looking at the performance across the board, it is definitely more improved than we had seen in the hard point. And of course, stats at a 2 and 13 start for Northwood, definitely one that's hurting more than something.
Polyester cut down. First blood off the board here. Northwood starting to make their march forward. Another kill potentially here down below. Matty Ice should get cut down in a moment, and he will. This is going to lead the side of Northwood to be able to get over onto B, stop the clock, and work towards that first tick of progress. As Con was now making his way out of the reception desk. He's able to find shots on the mock that are good and ring true. Infinite's going to be there in stats to back up for some reinforcements. The problem is everybody's continuing to fall, and that first push that goes over towards B is wayward, and they also don't really have any positioning over towards the A site either. They need to pile drive and continue hitting this hill over and over and over and over and over again if they want to yield any results, because you still have 2 players from Baldwin Wallace over at A. They are not allowing you to force spawn kitchen.
Northwood, give it a go once again, as you said, stacking up bed, but Maddie Melts tearing them apart in this one. B completely locked down. 40 seconds left on the clock. A decision has to be made. You've got to find a way to bully out, find a soft spot at this A site, because nothing is going for you over here at B.
Hanma down below. Do you have a spoiler here for Bink? Nope, Maddie Melts does. Over the top. Pack will walk away with a gunfight win. Now everybody's starting to push back here over towards A. Round's not over just yet. Pressure has been given up by Baldwin Wallace, but there's now a flank coming in through from Polyester. This is a chance for him to have one of the biggest momentum kills of the game. And, you know, as much as I've ragged on Baldwin Wallace, I didn't even realize Stats just got his 3rd kill of the game. 3 in 17. I don't even know how many times negative that is, but I'm not going to try and say that word because I'm not smart enough to be able to understand that in the lickety split second. Infinite's starting to make his way forward. It's starting to start making some jokes about Stats here because I feel kind of bad about Baldwin Wallace. Just kidding.
No, they're absolutely hanging on in this one, and sure, as you said, the round not over, right, with them able to get the opening at A and able to get the stack in. Just a 3-life discrepancy and 60 seconds to work with. So the clock going to be a factor before anything else. The only difference is for Northwood's attempt here, they have players through the back. You see those spawn outs coming in jewelry. Now they're trying to flood in through mid-map once again, but Polyester and Con will combine for a couple to clear out top bed and able to maintain that control. Northwood haven't yet found their opening that they want to strike with.
I love what you did with the screen there. Beautiful. Purple, pink. Love it. Beautiful colors. The voices in my head are speaking back to me. I'm not used to that. Oh boy, 4 in a row here from Infinite. Now another one goes to the mock. It's a double there. Northwood's still down by 3 lives, but now the assault can march forward here over towards the B zone. Maddie Melts will be spotted out on the cross, but Mock will walk away with a 1-on-1 win. Baldwin Wallace spawning deep all the way in the north portion of the map, and the first one here is going to be Polyester, who unfortunately with his gun out is not going to be able to walk away with any sort of shots on Infinite, who's now on 5 in a row. Looking for potential streaks, forces himself off with a stem text, but the second tick of progress is now through. Maddie Melts in the middle of the map. Big tries to snake up on the head glitch. Infinite's still here on the point. 30 seconds left, but everybody now cut down except for the final player, as Stats is able to find one. He's still down and holding the zone while waiting for the reinforcements to get here. LTS Stats over towards the backside line. Matty Ice now pushed in towards the bottom of the bedroom, has stalled the push out, but with 23 seconds, they've just got to sprint forward.
Northwood, last lives remaining and only 1 player pushed up. Infinite combines for a couple, has to push out bed here to stop the clock, trying to wait as long as he can for his teammates and still has a little time to work with, but this is it. This has to be the push. Maddie Melts, Polyester, watching this cross. This could be the round.
I was going to say 3v6 maybe doable, 1v6 almost an impossible task with no time left. Would have had to run directly into pre-aims. It's been all defense here in the first 3 rounds of this control. Baldwin Wallace now within reach of being able to not only take a map, but be able to force an extension of a series, something that nobody has done against Northwood all year long.
It's a night of first, man. I'm telling you what, whether it goes distance or not, this is also the most control rounds that Northwood have given up. So pat yourselves on the back no matter what. Baldwin Wallace, you have done it. You have made maps closer than anyone else ever has. So congratulations to them. But you know they don't want to stop there. They want to find a way to take a map off this team, extend the series as you said, and look to find a way to carve themselves back into this one. Maddie Melts, 31 and 14, 5 spree as well to start things off. Infinite will start off with a double, but you still have that streak on the board.
I thought he was going to be able to keep hip firing for the 3rd one too there, and I was going to be like, Jesus, buddy. But Baldwin Wallace have gotten themselves onto this A point. So the aggressive hit does pay out in their favor. They win the majority of their gunfights. The trades go their way. A 1-life advantage is going to at least net them 2 ticks of progress on A, and it should be the full thing here in just a moment. Northwood might give it one more sneaky peek, but it's only going to be Bink, the last one here alive, and well, maybe he's able to pull some late action heroics. Problem is, well, he's dead now.
And I think for Baldwin Wallace to really be able to pull off this round, to pull it off in a 3-1 fashion, they need to really put pressure on having someone kind of in the back lines. The problem with their push where they had gotten 4 down is everyone spawned the spa side for Northwood. They didn't have anyone pushed out spawning where they'd spawn jewelry. It allowed them to get back to the site way too quickly before a 4 stack could even be rendered effective. So I'd like to see them work that a little bit better. Here they're trying to push through mid-map at least and maybe have a player check in, but Northwood privy to it. They've got their cuts covered and look to hold off this push.
Dude, Evan is in his prime right now. I'm not going to lie. 5 and 24 might be the best showing I've seen out of Boston Stats all year long. 27 and 17. Now 11 kills positive here from Conwa. about to break the 30 kill mark, but his teammate's already done that. Matty Melts, once again, just having a fantastic map against a very strong Northwood roster. A huge reason why they've been able to go ahead and win the majority of the rounds here in the control thus far. Now can start making his way out and forward. Unfortunately, they don't know where Infinite is. They know he's in the back line somewhere, but they don't know where they can make the push out onto the zone. Conwa, unfortunate timing. Bink is able to come around the corner in just the nick of time, and as he's able to snap for the second kill there, that's going to cut everybody from Baldwin Wallace that was close to the zone down. Now it's just a hit from the middle of the map, and the pressure is still on.
Mills cleans up the last one, at least with the potential to stop the clock. Still with players here trying to hold down the fort. Lives, one favoring Northwood for now. But here we see Matty Ice slipping the line, trying to get into the back to influence these spawns. 40 seconds left, has to make a move here sooner than later. His teammates spawning about as far out as they possibly could, and could be taking gunfight sooner than expected.
Full challenge there from Polyester, tries to jump all the way across, and the wayward nade from Matty Melts unfortunately won't allow him to have his gun up, so Infinite is able to pop a double. 5 and 26 from Boston Stats keeps continuing to surprise me here on the map, and not in a good way. 14 to 12, 2 life advantage. Northwood, Conwa around the corner, beautiful snap there onto Evan, and as now he can start to push his way forward yet again. It's the side of Baldwin Wallace who need to get back onto the zone to start to control things here. Polyester, a kill on the Bink, 3 life advantage, 5 seconds left, nobody close to the zone, and that should just about wrap things up. We're going to go to the oh-so-coveted round 5 of the control here, with Northwood now on the brink of not only being able to close this out, but also lose the map, something we haven't been able to say, once again, all year long.
And Northwood should edge out the defense here by 1 tick, because Baldwin and Wallace were held to 3 on this attempt. They were able to walk away with 4 in their first round, 5 each, and we should see here really what either team is made of. Like you said, Baldwin Wallace pushing things the distance. They've done their job and taking a couple of rounds off this team to put themselves in this spot. And now we will find out if Baldwin Wallace can pull off an offensive attempt here, something they couldn't do the last couple of goes. See if they can get themselves a map win on Northwood.
37 kills from Matty Melts. We'll start out of him on board with a POV. Yes, we know how to use POV correctly around here. That's will be forced to back off, dude. He did not want any sort of business taking that gunfight against Conwan for good reason. I wouldn't want to either. Infinite, though, will walk away with 2 kills. Yet again, he's been the 2-piece machine here on the map. He's the only one for the side of Northwood to be able to break that 30-point club. But as Conwan was able to shut that player down, snaps back for another. I thought he might be able to take down Mock in the process. But now it's Matty Melts who will be able to get a nice little trade there onto his teammate. That's going to bode it closer for him getting to that 40-point mark. I think the closest we've seen to a 40-point mark in a control recently was when Priestley did it a few weeks ago against the New Mexico State roster.
Fortress control, gotta love it. Who knows? It's on the cards. And yeah, Matty Melts should definitely walk away with this round as they look to walk away with the ace site. Also, lives tied. Over 2 minutes on the clock. Northwood in a 3 and a quarter v4. Let's see what you got.
Polyester, the first one to fall. Stats is going to try and be there for the help. Doesn't even snap over towards his teammate. Shoots his teammate's dead body, actually. That's tippable. 23, 22, minute 52 seconds left on Wallace. Have all the time in the world here and all the map position that they could have wanted at this juncture. The problem is that there's still a swarming Northwood roster all around them. Matty Melts, though, on the zone. First stick of progress at B, slowly making its way up. Think there with a kill in the middle of the map is going to be traded out immediately there. He's in a technical way onto his teammate, and I believe that's a streak being used over the top.
Top bed, able to connect. Mock still wreaking havoc, causing damage. Infinite connects on the streak. Also, 90 seconds left to hold. This doesn't get easier if you're Northwood. Baldwin Wallace still with pressure. You have 1 player left to sniff out, and it's going to be Conwa. Wallbang's going to be sound to find Polyester. And now Baldwin Wallace have to rework their approach Northwood. But they sound set up, but whenever Conwa strikes, it could be dangerous. You need to make sure you sniff him out before he's able to go big.
Got a 41 bomb from Matty Melts here for a loss. Would feel devastating for Baldwin Wallace. And of course, I'm sure for Matty Melts. On the opposite side of the coin, you have a great game turned bad. 5 and 30 here from Stats inside of the map. Matty Melts is able to find shots on the Infinite, but doesn't walk away with the kill, and that could be costly, because now with Infinite being in the backline, you have to worry about this player, and this is going to bleed precious clock time off of that B zone and everything else that you're trying to push up for yourselves. The Matty duo pops for a double. Stats, Bink, both fall down, and the clock once again stopped at 44 seconds. Infinite is here, though, and that's exactly who I said they needed to be careful of, because guess what? He's in your backline, he's wreaking havoc, and with only 9 lives left, Baldwin Wallace has 38 seconds to make or break the series.
They've got to fly. They've got to find an opening. Only 2 team pushes left if the clock even allows it. They're trying to work through the back lines. They're trying to overwhelm Mach with numbers here, but they've got to try to find a way to take one of these gunfights. Infinite wins another mid-map. Now you can give some more resources towards the back line. This is going to be your final push if you're Baldwin Wallace. Make it work out.
Mach laying down below. Kamwa is going to be there for 1, though. 35 kills for him now, and he snaps back into the back line on the opposite side. That's going to be 3 down. You can start stacking the point, but you need to find Bink in the top of the bedroom window. He's able to pop a double on the opposite side, and now with 4 lives remaining, it's 5.5 seconds left on the point. Nobody able to touch it. Nobody able to get back to it. It was a late check into the series for Baldwin Wallace, but it's an early check out as Northwood win on the hotel control. A 3-0 series sweep. They'll lock themselves into the playoffs and relegate Baldwin Wallace to the LCQ.
Baldwin Wallace pushed them to the limits, though. At least in every facet, but the hard point, round 5 in the control, round 10 in the search and destroy, as you said, arrived late. Though we do have an early checkout here, and I mean, again, Matty Melch with 44, so tough way to go out of it for the series. Northwood end up taking it, and again, right, you said it before, but I think it's still important to hit, right? This isn't a series that Baldwin Wallace was supposed to take, but I do like seeing that these big teams are bleeding a bit, right? Northwood has given up the most amount of points, the most amount of rounds in this series, more than any other the rest of the season, even against Baldwin Wallace 2 weeks ago. So it's important to know that Baldwin Wallace has made, again, those adjustments, those changes. They've done their homework against this team, and of course they have their core 4 roster, so that's definitely something that also, you know, helps with chemistry and different things. Same thing in the series we saw previously. We are seeing these good teams at the most exciting point of the season show some weaknesses, which if I was a team like that, of course, if I was North, if I was St. Clair, I'd want to bleed now before we really get to that playoff point. They still walk out with the series wins as well, but not without learning a couple of lessons. So again, for Northwood, this is just a note for teams to come, right? Find their weak points, know where to hit them, and again, if you can consistently execute on that, sure. I mean, again, you were 2 rounds away from taking the surge, you know, you were 1 round away from taking the control. So, I mean, it was signs were pointing in the right direction, but we talk about it where things fall through is consistently being able to put up those numbers, put up what is needed to walk away with a win, and unfortunately, that'll hinder you every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Northwood 3-0 in the series. Baldwin Wallace, despite their best efforts, do fall just short of being at least able to force a map 4 or maybe even contend for a potential series victory. Reverse sweep would have been there. But on the bright side, I will say at the very least, we do see some good strength out of Baldwin Wallace at full potential against a very good Northwood roster. And as Cash said beforehand, it's great to see these top teams bleed right before the most important part of the season, see what they're made of in that test of strength. We're going to send things to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with the winning team in Northwood, so don't go too far. We'll be back in here in just a bit. It might have been a 3-0, but it was a fun 3-0, and I had a good time. We're now joined by LTC Stats. Evan, it's a pleasure as always. That might have been one of the most inspiring control performances I think I've seen in quite some time. Walk me through the mindset in that control there.
Sometimes it's stats. So as long as, you come out with the dub, it doesn't matter what the stats are. That's why my name is Stats. So
I love it.
there you go.
I
It's
love
okay.
it.
I can get the 5. I saw I got the 65 damage, but I know, if I'm going, I'm channeling, I'm tossing the lives away. Gotta let the guys go ahead, chal out, and just give them the info that's needed.
Oh God.
Hey, that was a good series from you guys to be able to take. Of course, going into the night, I had given the statistics on the maximum points and rounds you've given up in a given series, and this one you give up the most points in hardpoint, the most rounds in search, the most rounds in the control. I mean, of course, having outside of your standard lineup in, what are some points you guys are going to go back and maybe go over to brush up for the postseason?
Go over some search and destroy breaks for some of the top schools that we'll be seeing on land for not just NACE for the finals, but all the leagues coming up for everyone. So, and
Absolutely.
there's been quite a few.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, and so, like, for your guys' mentality going into the postseason, obviously, I mean, again, you're more than aware of the buzz around Northwood, right? That, again, they should be competing for another title. They should be at least top 8 lock for sure. Do you guys drown out the noise? Do you lean into it and lean into the excitement? What's your guys' focus going into the rest of the season?
Honestly, probably just a little bit a mix of both. Obviously, we want to run it back, but that's always how it is. You always want to go back, you want to win it again, you want to do it for Northwood, and you want these guys to go ahead and get that championship themselves.
Absolutely.
Just talking real quick, last question for you, by the way. Just talking real quick about St. Clair, if you were to have a potential rematch against them in a grand finals, are you guys feeling more confident this year about a matchup against them, or is it going to be a little bit closer than what we saw in the grand finals for Vanguard?
That's a good question. It's definitely going to be something interesting, a little bit different without the play styles of both of the games play. So I'm interested, looking forward to that, and how our guys are going to adapt going into the finals.
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations on not only being able to stay undefeated throughout the entire season, barring, of course, that forfeit, but being able to not only lock yourself in for playoffs, but be a top seed yet again. Looking forward to a fun Northwood run through the playoffs, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the grand finals.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, so with that being said, we now find ourselves at the end of a NACE Star League broadcast here for the Varsity Premier Division of Call of Duty, and that means the conference championships have come to a close. We'll get the results of some of the other conference championships that are finishing up around the rest of the Star League, but for now, congratulations to St. Clair and of course Northwood for being able to best out their opponents and be able to secure themselves in a playoff spot. Other teams will be relegated to the LCQ, so that means for Wichita State and Baldwin-Wallace, you're not secured in the playoffs just yet, although it's looking like a pretty good chance that you'll be there, considering that you were able to play pretty close against some of these top teams. Cash, closing thoughts before we are ending off and sending off for tonight.
Yeah, again, a lot of good things for teams that may be watching tonight. Some of the best teams that we have to offer in the NACE Star League. You can see some points against your Northwoods, against your St. Clair's, just to pencil in for a playoff run. If you find yourself, qualifying through the LCQs and the playoffs, you have your notes on where these teams have weak points. Of course, they're going to brush up on it, but again, I'm excited to see. This is what, just to take from the basketball terminology, right? March Madness is all about, just to see these teams. You see so many new things learned in these matchups tonight, and a lot of these teams going forward should have a lot more hope, and not only that, but trust in their abilities to make something happen for themselves. So I'm just excited to see what the rest of the postseason brings us.
Absolutely. Folks, if you're wondering what the schedule is going to be looking like going forward and when you can catch Call of Duty here next, our next collegiate Call of Duty broadcast here for the Star League won't be until Wednesday, April 12th. So if you're looking for the round of 15 and when the playoffs truly do start, that'll be on April 12th. So we won't have a Call of Duty broadcast before then. However, there still will be a lot of great stuff going on here at the NACE Star League. On Tuesday, March 28th, just this Tuesday that's coming up, Overwatch 2, the LCQs round of 14 will be taking taking place. Got some Valorant the day after that and whatnot. So if you haven't been privy to a lot of the other things besides Call of Duty and you want to get a little bit more action here with the A-Star League for the collegiate programs that we have going on, make sure to tune in Tuesday for Overwatch and the next few days after that for a lot of other esports that will be finding themselves in a great and exciting spot, of course, with playoffs just around the corner. On behalf of myself, Cash, and everybody else here at the production for the A-Star League, we want to thank you so much for being able to come out. Thank you to the players and all the staff that is making all these broadcasts possible. And until then, until the broadcast on Tuesday, stay safe, be good to each other, and have yourselves a great night.